Sharon? Come on, sir.
Nick.
That's the news.
I didn't bring my note.
Oh, I'll do everything.
Separate. So I have a separate folder.
I'll do everything, but.
I think it might actually already passed.
You ready to record? Y'all ready? Carl, you ready?
It just seems so much later. So dark outside. It feels like it's like way later than. I'm like, am I late? Am I late? Am I late? No.
Okay, we ready? Are you ready, Nicole? All right. Good evening. I'm going to call the Centerton City Council meeting to order for December 13th, 2022. Would everyone in attendance please rise and join me in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everybody will stay standing. We'll say a prayer. Our dearest Heavenly Father, we're very grateful that we could gather together tonight as a community, as a city, and as all of those that care about our great city of Centerton. We're grateful that we have leaders here that care about our community, grateful for the citizens that care about our community. We ask for protection as we go about this meeting. And we pray for these things in Jesus Christ, amen.
I did want to announce before we start that Todd is not here. Nicole will be filling in for him tonight. What will you do? A roll call, please? Yes.
Josie Reed. Here. Bill Edwards. Yes. Aaron Warren. Here. Keith Higginbotham.
Here.
Amy Rashad.
Here.
All right, so first on the agenda is approval of the city council meeting minutes from November 8th, 2022. They have been in your packet for about a week now. And there was one change made that Josie brought to our attention. There was a motion and the name was wrong, but we've corrected that since. So that's been taken care of. So if I would something like make a motion to adopt the minutes.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, we got a motion from Josie. Do we have a second? Second for Misty. All in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, next is acknowledge and receipt of the Water and Sewer Commission meeting minutes from October 24th. Planning Commission meeting minutes from November 1st and November 15th. And the advertising and promotion minutes from November 21st, 2021. Someone like to make a motion to acknowledge receipt of those minutes.
So moved.
Keith has made the motion,
Second.
second by Amy. All in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, next I'm gonna bring Carl up. He's gonna go over the financials with us.
Good evening, everyone. So you have in your packet four sets of papers. Two of them are financial statements, one of them is the budget, and one of them is the audit report. From the financial package, you have a report entitled City of Centerton Financial Report, which is the profit and loss statement of revenue and expenses. For the year, we show a surplus in the general fund, which does not mean that that money is available to spend. It just means that we have a surplus at the moment. It states 7.4 million, but that's really not true. It's really 2.4 million. The other 5 million is due to the movement of ARPA funds. So that's not, although it is treated as a profit in that fund, it is not actual income. The street fund has a surplus year to date of $876,000. Again, that is surplus. It is not spendable. That's money that we try to put aside for future projects. Park and Rec Fund has a surplus of $151,921. Those are the major funds. The other smaller funds are listed throughout your sheet. I have highlighted a little bit. I've changed this report up just a little bit. So the far right-hand column kind of explains to you why, if we are over budget, why we're over budget. For instance, public safety, we're over budget, and that's my fault because we just ended the budget. I did not realize that we had one more payment to make. So that's my fault. If there are any specific questions that I could address, I'm more than happy to do that. Or if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me up in the office. I'm sick. For the balance sheet, that is another little packet there called balance sheet presentation. We currently have liquid cash of 4.4 million. We have invested cash of $10 million. I will tell you that invested cash made almost $30,000 in a month. We have other assets.
Say that again. What was the number?
Cash made almost $40,000 in the month of November. If you look at that over the course of a year, you're looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of 450,000. We have other assets of $1.2 million. Those assets are going to go away because they are part of the fire pension plan, which is being turned over to LOPFI. So we have total assets of $15,728,127. We have liabilities of $61,769. And we have fund balance for in the for-profit world, what would be called retained earnings, $15,666,000. Your total cash to liabilities ratio is 234.37 to 1. Really good. Your assets to liabilities ratio is 254.63 to 1. And your liquid cash liabilities is 72.48 to 1. It removes the $10 million from the equation. Any questions? I'm more willing to try to answer them for you. And if I can't answer them now, I will answer them tomorrow.
Hearing none. Somebody make motion to accept the financial report and also the court report, which has been dropped. Misty's made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Josie. Any more discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Next are department reports. They've all been in the Dropbox. Several of my department heads are here. If we have any questions for them? Okay. Here are none. We'll go ahead and go into ordinances and resolutions. But before we do that, I would like to have someone make a motion to read ordinance 2022-88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101 by title only. Resolution 2022-44, 45, 46, 47, and 48. Okay, we got a motion. Do we have a second?
Let's get, I understand 2248 is going to be tabled.
Yeah, well,
Okay, so I just,
Yeah.
add that to the motion.
there'll be a couple of them tabled. Okay, so we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Yeah.
Darren, second? Roll call.
Misty Elam. Darren Warren.
Yes.
Josie Reed. Yes. Keith Higginbotham.
Yes, ma'am.
Justin Cowger.
Yes.
Yes.
Get them all? Okay. Next, would someone like to make motion to suspend the rule requiring us to read on 3 separate occasions, ordinances 2022-88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, and 101. Got a motion, we have a second? Second, roll call.
Darren Warren,
Yes.
Keith Higginbotham,
Yes, ma'am.
Amy Rochette,
Yes.
Cynthia Elam,
Yes.
Josie Reed.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Justin Calgary, yes. All right. All right, so our first ordinance is ordinance 2022-88. I talked a little bit about this in our last meeting, and this is to increase the salary of the council members from the current $250 per meeting to $400 per meet for attendance at each regular scheduled meeting. And also to increase the special council meeting pay from 100 per meeting to 150 per meeting. I did attach on the second page here, a salary study, which shows our pay is right now 3,200 a year, and most cities are well above that. It looks like the minimum is about 8,000. This will not get us there, but it will just make a little bit closer toward that goal. So that's the proposal. Is there any discussion?
It's the only thing I'd say, if we're getting an increase, why can't we be paid monthly?
Well, we can do that if you like. Carl, what do you think?
Is that, you would say,
Hey, instead of quarterly, pay them monthly.
I'm fine with that. I don't have any problem with that.
All right, Counselor.
Ordinance number 2022-88. An ordinance amending Center Municipal Code, chapter 2.12.04, fixing salary for city council.
All right. Someone like to make motion to adopt ordinance 2022-88.
So moved.
Motion, we have second?
Second.
Second, okay, roll call, ma'am.
Josie Reed,
Yes.
Darren Warren,
No,
Cynthia Elam,
Yes.
Keith Higginbotham,
yes, ma'am.
Amy Rochette,
Yes.
Justin Calgary.
Yes. And we'll start doing it monthly. This takes effect on January 1st. All right, next is ordinance 2022-89. This is setting the mayor's salary. This is the same salary that I received for the last 2 years. I did not ask for an increase. I'm not going to ask for an increase this year. I'm satisfied with what's being paid, but anyway, this is setting the salary to the current salary. We have to do this every year, so. The salary is 92,152.32. You look back at the salary study, just to look at it, since I put it in there. The minimum for this position is 104,000, the maximum is 156. But again, I'm okay with this, leaving it like it is.
We have this in the budget, correct?
No, he'll have, he put an increase in the budget,
It increased the budget,
the 3.
okay.
So
but this will supersede the budget.
this ordinance supersedes the budget. So this will be this. Any questions? Counselor?
Ordinance number 2022-89, an ordinance amending Center Municipal Code, section 2.14.03, titled compensation.
I'll make motion to adopt ordinance 2022-89.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
okay, roll call.
Amy. Amy,
Oh, yes.
Justin,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Josie,
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Misty.
Yes.
Next is ordinance 2022-90. This is set the salary for the city clerk. Again, this is the same salary. Todd talked to me after our last meeting. He said to just leave it like it is. So salary is 17 something. Yeah, there, 17,060.16. That's his same current salary for the last 2 years. He just requested we leave it. Also looking at the salary study, just since, I did put it in there. For city clerk, the minimum for that position is 36,000. The maximum is 54, but again, Todd just requested to leave it like it is. Any questions? Counselor?
Ordinance number 2022-90. An An ordinance amending Centerton Municipal Code, section 2.16.03, fixing the salary for city clerk.
Someone like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-90.
So moved.
Motion, we have second?
Second.
For 2 seconds. Pick whichever one.
Amy,
Motion, missed it.
Keith and Amy.
When you're ready, go ahead and do a roll call.
Josie,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Justin. Misty. Keith.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, next is ordinance 2022-91. This is asking for an increase for the planning commission. Right now, they get attendance in a meeting, they go at 150 per meeting. And the chairman gets 200 per meeting. And then the recorder gets 150 and then 150 for performing the minutes. I've, basically asked for a $50 increase. To move it up to 200 per meeting for the commissioners, 250 for the planning or the chairman. Then 200 for the recorder plus 150 for the minutes. And they have not had an increase since 2017. So any questions on that? And we did add this in the budget, by the way, sorry. All right, hearing none.
Ordinance number 2022-91, an ordinance amending Centerton Municipal Code, section 13.04.05, titled compensation, fixing the salary for members of the planning commission.
Someone make a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-91.
So moved.
We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. Roll call, ma'am.
Misty.
Yes.
Aaron,
Yes.
Josie,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Justin.
Yes.
Amy.
Yes.
We got them all? I don't know why I keep hearing 5. Okay. All right, next is ordinance 2022-92. This is adopting the 2023 budget. I'm gonna turn this back over to Carl.
Oh. So the 2022 budget,
2023.
1.3 budget, yeah. For the general fund, we project revenues of 13,540,000 and an expense of 13,538,000. So we're projecting a $2,000 surplus at the end of the year. Obviously, that's, this is a projection. This is not what it's going to turn out to be exactly. Street fund, we are projecting revenue of the street fund. Yeah, we're projecting revenue of 2,665,000, expense of 2,657,000, and surplus of 7,653. The parks budget has changed slightly after our meeting last Friday or last December 7th. We did some amendments to the original budget. And we now project revenues of 335,000 and expenses of 335,000. A portion of those revenues will have to be appropriated from surplus. Don't know exactly how much right now. Right now, it's budgeted at 100,000. They have almost $500,000 in their reserve. Do you want me to go through I guess through everyone? E&P, we have $246,000 of projected revenue, $206,000 of projected expense. So a surplus there of $40,000. Act 1949, we show revenue of 7,500, no expenses. Cemetery trust, we show revenue of 13,500, expenses of 13,500. Cemetery trust, we show revenue of $125 and expenses of $2,000 right now. So it's showing a net deficit of $1,875. Admin justice, $450,000 revenue and expense. Act 833, $45,000 worth of revenue and expense. Fire department donations, $6,525 worth of revenue and expense. Incarceration fee, $1,075 of revenue and expense. Investors general, $18,000 worth of revenue and expense. And I'm sorry, that's incarceration fee. Investor general, $25,000 worth of revenue. Police Department donations, $12,100 worth of revenue and $5,000 worth of expense. And street MMIA, $350 worth of revenue and no expense. The street MMIA, the the investor general, those are funds that just hold investments right now. We don't have any real activity. So we show a total grand total of revenue of $17,365,845. Grand total of budgeted expenses of $17,277,460. And a grand total of $88,385 worth of surplus revenue.
Question for you, Carl, where do we put like maintenance on vehicles in here? That'd be under like each department specifically,
It's under each department's budget, yes, sir.
like cars and
Yes,
that.
and you'll see those are all attached. So every department's budget is attached. So the general revenue is what houses all of our income for the general fund. And then each one of those departments houses all the expenses for the general fund. Street fund has revenue and expense. The park fund and all the other funds have revenue and expense within them.
The big reason for like the over on the legal services, 45,000.
Legal service.
144,700 with the budget.
Oh, you're talking about for this year?
Oh, but the decrease.
The decrease. Administration, sorry.
We just don't, for that, we just don't, we believe that we had excessive legal expenses this year. Forward.
This is, yeah, I forgot. How could I?
Also, for the ambulance, we paid some of that. Those items in 2023. Budget adjustment. Next year is budget adjustment pretty much every month. So that we need to have a real handle on what's going on with each person's budget.
The only other thing is Bill's salary shows 96 in here. Will that be adjusted?
I'm sorry, say again.
Never mind. I answered. You said a second.
He was asking if you're gonna, when we.
Mayor's budget.
Yes, that would be automatically adjusted, yes. So, but you gotta understand, this, the salary portion, so if we go back, all the salaries are based upon parameters that we set. Now, what they'll actually come in at will never be more than what's on that budget sheet. They'll come in at that number or lower, depending on performance reviews. If you have any questions, pop up, call me. I'm there for it.
So I have a question based on what Justin asked. Do you want, if we approve this, do you want him to go ahead and just adjust the salary to the 92,115? I'm okay with that because it's not.
Well,
I'm sorry.
Amended anyway, don't we?
Yeah, you've already.
Okay.
It's what you did.
Let's go make what we do.
Automatically lowered that.
We'll make sure we do what you requested. Okay. Great. Any more questions for Carl? None?
Ordinance number 2022-92, an ordinance approving and adopting a budget, for the operation of the city of Centerton, Arkansas for the calendar year 2023.
I'm gonna make motion to adopt ordinance 2022-92.
Moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, ma'am.
Justin,
Yes.
Josie,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Aaron,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
Amy,
Yes.
All right. Next is ordinance 2022-93. This is a rezone of the Karen J. Robin Local Trust Property from agriculture A1, medium high density multifamily. R3, we do have a developer here. Just in case we have any questions. This property is located on Kimmel Road. And it is actually between Daisy Road and Main Street. Sorry, about a half mile to the east of Main Street. So this was presented to the Planning Commission. Meeting on November 15th. It was a public hearing. There was 2 comments. One, the staff received a letter from a member of the public regarding concerns about traffic due to this development. The second was brought up, a fellow named Stephen, which I actually forwarded his email. He
Yeah.
sent it to Josie and Keith, and I just forwarded to the whole council, and I put it in the Dropbox for you too. And he had concerns, with having multifamily developments, possible rise in crime due to the high density and also privacy. So that was the 2 public comments. After the public comments, the planning commissioners were asked to consider the following. Is the rezoning consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan? And if not, why? They did say yes, the comprehensive plan calls for a density of 7 to 11 units per acre. And R3 multifamily has a limit of 80 units per acre. Is proposed rezoning compatible with the surrounding area and zones? Yes, as the property is surrounded by agriculture, single family and duplexes. Would all the permitted uses in the new zone be compatible in this location and surrounding areas? Yes, multifamily would be compatible. Would the rezoning provide a benefit to this landowner, not be considered for other similar properties in this area? There is no specific benefit to this landowner which would not be considered for similar properties in the area. And then if the public is opposed, why? And objections are based on factual information related directly to this request or opinion based. Does any factual information presented apply to this rezone situation? The public is opposed due to the multifamily aspect. There was no other questions from the commissioners, and all commissioners did vote in favor of this. And again, I have a developer somewhere right here. He's here, if we have any questions or if you want to say anything to the council before we proceed on with this.
Mayor, council, thank you for allowing me to be here tonight and considering our project. I know sometimes the multifamily zoning aspect of it catches your attention. We've worked with the planning department and Donna and Diane specifically to from the beginning inception of this project with our application to the city, to the planning commission. The reason for the multifamily zoning is because there are townhomes that are connected in this project, and Donna, she can clear there's another reason, but that was at the suggestion of our planner to go with the multifamily zoning. I think it's important to note that we had a PUD that was approved at planning as well. That caps our units at 179 units total, which is well within the future use plan of the city of Centerton. I think it's also important to know this is a planned community. It's gated. It has dog park, has a clubhouse facility, pool. We feel like this is a missing middle type project. It's going to be a quality first class project that sidewalks, the PUD requires 25% green space at least. It has pocket parks as well. It's a mix of cottages. It's not multifamily as you think. It's not apartment buildings. It's cottages that have garages, townhomes with garages. The only units that don't have garages are the one bedroom units. Those have street parking. We also have our engineer, I forgot to mention this because they're on Zoom and they're not here, but our engineer, Jim Ducker, is on Zoom as well from our engineering group Bowman. They can answer any questions as well that can be addressed. As far as traffic is concerned, part of our PUD requirement is a traffic study to be completed with large scale development. That is in process now. So as we proceed to large scale, should you guys approve rezone tonight, which we hope you will, a traffic study is required before or during our submittal to the large scale development plan. Hope that helps make things clear, make it clear as mud, but happy to answer any other questions.
These are, non-owners, right? They're rentals.
That is correct. We would be the owners of the entire project. They are rental units. The project itself are again, 1 bed, 2 bed, 3 beds, a mixture of those, roughly 50% 2 bed, 2 bath. I believe it's 20% 1 bed, 1 bath, and then 30% plus or minus a 3 bed, 2 bath, but they are all rentals. But this is a single owner project. Yes, ma'am.
That's a, when you say single owner,
The developer, we would be the owner of the project or our development group.
To add a little clarification, the reason for the R3 multifamily recommendation was because there is about half and half, single family and more of the townhome style of development, but because they are so mixed in together, it was not feasible to have both zoning districts. And the R3 multifamily allows both the more multifamily, the duplex, and the single family development. So it allows all of those districts, all of those types within it. But this is about 50% single family. And Brian can speak to this further, but legally we cannot consider rental versus ownership whenever we are approving a project.
one more thing.
Well, come on up, Lorraine. So we can they can hear you on Zoom too.
I just want to distinguish the R3 multifamily is up to 4 units. Connected units. So they're limited to their structure size. Where like if you go to the R4 multifamily, then you're going into the apartments. So that's the difference between a lot of times the R3 multifamily. You hear the multifamily part of it, but it's restricted to 4 units, attached units.
Thank you. Also note, it came up at planning too, and this came through our planning process as well. We're sprinklering, tough for me to say, the entire site. So from a fire perspective, all of the units will be sprinkled as well. So that was something that came up due to the one ingress egress. We've made stub outs on the north. The north is Kimmel, east, west, south side. We've made stub outs for additional ingress egress when the time comes at the properties to the north, the west, east, and south are developed in the future. So we are happy to make those accommodations as well to alleviate traffic when that is able to be considered with future development.
Well, did you said that one landowner, who was the other one that spoke?
One was an email, and then the one it was an email to the planning commission. I'm not sure who it is. I can get it and send it to you back on their notes, but
Did it happen to be the trust that's corridor all of the land?
I don't, Donna, do you know who the email was from?
There's 3 right there. Byron, was it by chance of Byron Pierce Trust?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I just got the one I sent you, and she might be able to pull it out.
So I sent an email. I don't know if I'm the one, I'm not a part of a trust.
What's your name?
Crystal Penner.
Okay, that might have been yours then. Huh? Oh, no, we're talking about on Kimmel Road, is that property? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so what was sent? Like who in planning can speak to that? What email, who sent an email on this property? Cause it's not in the packet, so.
His name was Steve I'm gonna mispronounce his last
We
name.
have the own thought.
Yeah, we have that one.
That was even.
I know he's the one that came and spoke, and I know he sent another email afterwards.
Yeah.
But that's the ones I received. I know I'd have to look back and I can sit here and do that if you want me to. You want the name of who that was?
Yeah, I think it'd be helpful. I mean, there's one landowner, one trust owner owns almost every corner of that land. I don't know that I would be too pumped about taking a chance.
Who did you send your email to?
To the planning commission email, mine apparently was not counted.
No, I didn't receive it.
I included. That included was for the property on Bush and this property in London, so I'm assuming they just put it on the.
I put it in the Bush Road one, yes. And Crystal, by the way, while they're looking, you did see where I posted, they're gonna be bringing the one on Bush Road back to an appeal at their next council meeting. I did post that on the Tamrock page,
Thank you.
For you.
and I'm gonna put a sign on the property too, next day or two, big red sign.
I'm seeing, I got it.
It's 170.
I'll go back and look and see what more I got. It's not loading, but the only one I got was, I know was the one from Steven.
It could be crystals. Did it talk about traffic? Yeah, it's probably crystals.
Infrastructure, traffic, roads need to be widened. And the fact that Kimmel and Greenhouse are difficult to get through at certain times of the day, and this is added to that.
The traffic study is still pending.
Gallagher, the traffic study was part of the process, and it's to be submitted prior to any large scale discussion or approval.
Can she talk? Can she get up and, since we didn't get her email?
Yeah, Crystal, you come up and address the committee, council.
Give her name, address. And
They need your name and address.
Crystal Penner, 1501 Aniston.
Thank you.
My main concern, I live on, down Fish Hatchery, and Bush Road in Cameron. My main concern is traffic is already getting backed up to Kimmel. It's almost impossible to get to Greenhouse at certain times of the day. It's almost impossible to turn left on Greenhouse certain times of the day. All of that gets backed up. And so my concern is bringing in that many more houses again, a new subdivision essentially is just gonna add to the traffic. The road is up there, but there's no sidewalks. You've got a park, a dog park with no parking lot. I don't know how people get to that. There's no room to put a parking lot there. So it just seems a little bit irresponsible to add an additional large housing complex. I realize it's only 179 units, I think you said. But that's potentially 300 plus cars that are adding to that traffic every single day. And the infrastructure is not there yet to support it. And especially the stop sign there at Main and Kimmel / Fish Hatchery. Nobody knows how to do a 4-way stop. So now we're adding 300 more cars that don't know how to do a 4-way stop. It's irresponsible.
Anybody got any questions? Floodplain. Is it in a floodplain, Lorraine? They're asking if it's in a floodplain.
No, nothing nearby. I mean, I know we've had a lot of luck with that lately.
I'll just make one comment on the dog park. Edgar's here. They're actually still under construction. They are putting parking in there and they're putting a playground there too. And then sidewalks, as you go down there, you'll see this, they're all being added as everything's developed. I just wanted to add that, but he is actually gave us an update today on that dog park.
when they get you to put gravel down, for the dog park for now.
I think they're getting ready to put asphalt down in the near future. You want to come talk about the dog park?
Hey, the new center 2 point.
Any further questions?
Downtown center. That's.
Thank you.
downtown thing, yeah, it's
The new downtown center, that's where the McDonald's.
actually across the street from this. It's on North Main and South McDonald.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah, it's behind me. Yeah, sorry.
So just fill you in on Womack and Kimmel, Riverwood Homes did we did hold a joint venture, I guess you could say, a project for them to add a parking lot and a sidewalk. So we have already purchased the park itself, the amenity. So we will be doing the asphalt work probably early next year. Right now, we can't throw asphalt because of the weather. So I do see that coming in early. So most of the dirt work, concrete has been done by them. Like I said, this is a joint venture with Riverwood Home, so we can thank him, thank that group once we are done with that. But there is a parking spot coming in too, so it's a good addition that we'll have in now. Y'all have any questions moving forward, just let us know.
Sure. Any more questions on? Any more questions on this ordinance? Counselor? Or do you have anything else? I'm sorry.
I was just making sure there weren't any further questions we were happy to answer.
All right, sir. Counselor?
All right, City of Centerton ordinance number 2022-93. An ordinance to rezone certain lands within the city limits belonging to Karen J. Robbins Revocable Trust from agriculture, A1, to medium high density multifamily, R3 MF.
Make a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-93.
One question, hey, with planning, is there anything around that area right now that is in the works? Like you have the 3 trust owned properties, are those in process? Like, what does that look like around there?
Surrounding properties.
Yeah,
The closest thing would be Veteran West, that
did you have single family over on Womack and Kimmel? And you have a lot of agricultural, which eventually, hopefully is single family, but you have. Then you have this right dab in the middle of it. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right there. Mhm. Is there, I mean, what I'm saying, is there anything right now around there that's going on? Can you scroll down to the land use plan, Bill?
Sure.
On the right side, right there.
right now there's
Yes.
Featherston West, that would be the 40 acres to the west of the R3 single family. And that's also R3 single family.
So. when
It's a
we decide What
PUD.
blocks are you talking about?
Pardon me?
Bill, can you put your pointer on there on the map?
Right there.
Okay, so that's where single family is right now.
Yes, but medium high density, you can still have a mix of single family.
It's still single family, not a planned unit development, right?
No, it's still a planned unit. It's a planned unit development.
The neighbor,
Single family is also.
thanks.
So someone like make motion to adopt ordinance 2022-93.
So moved.
We got a motion from Darren. We have a second?
Second.
Second from Keith. Roll call, please.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Darren,
Yes.
Misty,
Yes.
Amy? No. Josie?
Yes.
Justin?
Passes 4-2. All right, next. And mark it off, sorry. All right, next is ordinance 2022-94. This is accepting the final plat of the Bliss Street Twin Homes. This is creating lots 1 through 46 and three tracks. The property is located north side of the intersection of Sun Meadow Drive and Bliss Street. And this was heard at the last planning commission meeting, and it was approved or recommended by the planning commission for approval by us. So anybody got questions on this?
Do we have a bonding?
All the bonds are done, yes. All the amounts are in there, Brian, everything's good.
My copy just says X. Do we know the
Yeah,
name?
no, we got them all this morning, so.
Okay.
Reynolds? Who else, I'm guessing?
I don't know. I don't know that. They're duplexes, but I don't. Of course they are. Twin homes, which is duplex. All right, go ahead, sir.
City of Centerton ordinance number 2022-94. An ordinance accepting the final subdivision plan of the Bliss Street Townhomes. Creating residential lots 1 through 46 and tracts A through C. City of Centerton, section 32, township 21 north, range 31 west. Benton County, Arkansas.
Originally, this was due to come in as a retirement facility.
Yeah, Don Waters used to.
Yes. Long
Yeah,
time
I think
ago.
back when I was on the city council, they brought that up, so.
Been on-
Actually, it was like 2 or 3 different plans for this thing,
Yes.
so. Yeah, this is an 8-acre tract, so. All right. I'd like to make motion to adopt ordinance 2022-94.
So moved.
We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Roll call, ma'am.
Josie,
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Justin,
Nope.
Misty,
Yes.
Amy,
No.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right, next is ordinance 2022-95. This is ordinance accepting final subdivision plat of Silverleaf Phase 1 subdivision. It's 128 lots and 1 detention pond. And this property is located at Bush and Wade Roads. And this did come before the last planning commission meeting. They've on December 6th, and they recommended to the city council for approval. Anybody got any questions on this? All right, Counselor.
City of Centerton ordinance number 2022-95. An ordinance accepting the final subdivision plan of Silverleaf Phase 1 subdivision. Creating residential lots 1 through 128 in tract A, City of Centerton, section 6, township 19 north, range 31 west, Benton County, Arkansas.
All right, someone like to make motion to adopt ordinance 2022-95.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Misty. Darren,
Yes.
Josie,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Justin,
Yes.
Amy. Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, next. Hang with. Next is ordinance 2022-96. Oh, yeah, okay, this is, we'll talk a little bit about flex space. We want to ask that we table this at this time.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, no, the staff has some questions. We want to get a little bit more understanding about this, so we have additional questions ourselves. What I did do is Donna did provide this document here to kind of show some examples of some flex space, which I added here just a couple hours ago, so this is here just for your information, but we want to get a little bit more information, so at this time, I would, ask that we table this.
I make a motion we table.
We got a motion, we have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Anyone opposed? All right. Next is ordinance 2022-96. No, I'm sorry, 97. And I initiated this ordinance because right now, when we have increases in water rates and sewer rates, the water commission gets to set the water rate. However, the city council has to approve the sewer rate. And I was trying to match them. However, after we wrote this, I did talk to Bob Anderson, who's here with the Water and Sewer Commission, and also Melvin Caulfield, and they believe that there's a state law that I should look at that actually gives them exclusive authority for this. So I would like to table this one also and do a little more research and then, bring it back next month if we need to. Council good with that? All right, somebody make a motion to table this? Okay, we got a motion. We have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, next is ordinance 2022-98. This is accepting the final subdivision of the Shirley Estates subdivision. This is 32 lots and one detention lot. And this is located off of Edgewood Road on the south part of town. This was brought to the last planning commission meeting and they did recommend approval. Anybody have any questions on this? If not, Counselor?
City of Centerton ordinance number 2022-98, an ordinance accepting the final subdivision plan of Shirley Estates subdivision. Creating residential lots 1 through 32 in tract A, City of Centerton, section 6, township 19 north, range 31 west, Benton County, Arkansas.
Someone like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-98.
So moved.
Got a motion? We have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, ma'am.
Josie,
Yes.
Justin.
Yes.
Missy. Yes. Darren,
Yes.
Amy. Yes. Keith.
Ma'am.
All right, next is ordinance 2022-99. This is amending municipal code Title 9, titled Streets and Sidewalks. And Alan had sent this out several weeks ago to the council. And he's here to answer any questions that you might have for him. Any questions on this?
This is what we talked about last meeting.
Yes.
So I gave the brief overview on what the Title 9 changes were going to be. And stay with the next one is Title 16. Next few ordinances. The other part that changed was a good bit of the drainage manual. So went over, discussed that a lot, sent it out to a lot of engineers, developers, builders, let them offer comments. Some things were changed in that process, so went through and made. But one engineer didn't make all those comments. He had a few more comments come through last Tuesday at the planning commission meeting, but it got recommended here. None of them seemed were that big change on those. I can go over those, but a lot of it's just to help our inspection staff in the field when they're verifying things, providing limits, changing design guides to better citizens here and give also more variance so that's more better design in our roads as well. So, for the drainage manual, the ones that later on, I didn't receive any comments afterwards. Got a call from one of the planning commissioners at 5:50. Had received comment from a couple engineers. They did want to wait until next month at least or ratify the change to the drainage manual. The Title 9, Title 16, I'm gonna see kind of go through now.
Any questions for Alan? Counselor?
Ordinance number 2022-9.
Go ahead, I'm sorry. I thought Amy said something.
I said no.
Okay, sorry. All right, go ahead.
You don't want me to?
No, I want you to read
I
it.
don't have any comments.
Okay, got you.
Sorry.
Ordinance number 2022-99, an ordinance amending Centerton Municipal Code, Title 9, Streets and Sidewalks, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
So I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-99.
So moved.
Okay, Amy's made the motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Keith. Roll call, ma'am.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Darren,
Yes.
Missy. Yes. Amy. Yes. Josie.
Yes.
Justin.
Yes.
Section 2. The city council of the city of Centerton, Arkansas has determined an emergency is hereby found to exist. And this ordinance being necessary for the preservation of the public peace, health and safety shall be in full force and effect from and after its the date of its passage and approval.
And I did ask Alan about the emergency clause. And he stated that he wanted this to go into effect right away, is why he added the emergency clause.
From other ones, so when it goes into effect after the adoption rather than waiting the 30 days.
So apparently we have some more submittals coming today, so. All right, with that, would somebody make a motion to adopt the emergency clause? Somebody. We have a motion, we have a second? Second by Misty, okay, roll call.
Justin.
Yes.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Josie.
Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Misty. Yes. Amy. Yes.
Stay up here for me. All right, so next is ordinance 2022-100. This is amending Title 16, the drainage regulations. And do you want to say anything on this one?
So 26 or Title 16 didn't have as many changes. A lot of it is to just update our flood ordinance to match the 2021 updates from the state of Arkansas, as well as also do a little more floodway protection. From getting rid of projects that free release into floodways. There's a lot of those changes for Title 16.
Do you have an emergency clause with this as well?
I have one for this one as well, so anything submitted afterward, it's approved through. I'm just trying to get those in flood, so those are enforced right away, so.
I think of the term, but this is expanding now from the zone AE going out to where there's possible flooding almost out into the 500 years. That's what we're doing, updating.
So part of it also is just when if there's a project within 100 feet of zone A, they at least have to apply for that the flood permit to say, yeah, we're not making any changes and show that they're outside that floodway. Or out of the floodplain. So it's 100 feet outside of the zone A. But it also gives us the stipulation to add state of Arkansas, being part of what the base level engineering gives more in-depth analysis in some of these floodways. I know there's sections in Centerton that aren't on the firm maps, but are part of the base level engineering study. So those will now also be included in required. So.
Anybody got any more questions for Alan?
Does this mean that you're taking over the duties from Lorraine? Or-
Working on it. I haven't started taking classes and test yet for it. He's reviewing them, I'm reviewing them with her. So
I know she loved that stuff.
she really does.
That was the floodplain manager.
I didn't think she liked it.
He told me she loved it.
Ordinance number 2022-100, an ordinance amending Center Municipal Code, Title 16, drainage regulations to correspond with updates made by the state of Arkansas to the flood damage prevention codes and to better protect the citizens and land, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-100.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Roll call, Nicole.
Misty. Yes. Darren,
Yes.
Josie,
Yes.
Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Justin. Amy. Yes.
Section 2, the city council of the city of Centerton, Arkansas has determined an emergency is hereby found to exist. And this ordinance being necessary for the preservation of the public peace, health, and safety shall be in full force and effect from and after the date of its passage and approval.
Someone like to make a motion to adopt the emergency clause.
So moved.
We have a motion by Amy and a second by Justin. Roll call, please.
Amy. Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Josie,
Yes.
Misty. Yes. Justin.
Yes.
Darren.
Yes.
Thanks, Alan.
Thanks, Alan. All right, our last ordinance is ordinance 2022-101. This is an ordinance increasing the compensation for the Water and Sewer Commission. Right now, they currently make $75 per meeting. And they have had a raise in quite a while, and at their last meeting, they did ask the city council to consider a raise of $200 per meeting. And this will come out of their budget. It won't come out of ours. So they have their own budget. So, and Bob, or you want to talk on this or not really, or do you have any questions for them? Okay, they don't have no questions. All right. Yeah, $200. Yeah, that's what I got. All right. Any more questions? Any questions, Bob?
Give them 1,000.
And I suspect this is the one I see, the one that I didn't correct. I'm just gonna read the title is corrected.
Yeah, you can send this back to me. This is
Ordinance number 2022-101. City of Centerton, Benton County, Arkansas, an ordinance amending section 10.08.09 of the Centerton Municipal Code, which sets the compensation for the Waterworks and Sewer Commission.
Someone like make a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-101.
I'll move.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
And we have a second. Roll call, please.
Justin. Yes. Keith,
Yes, ma'am.
Josie? Yes.
Darren,
Yes.
Misty? Amy?
Yes.
All right, that's it for ordinances. All right, so our first resolution is resolution 2022-44. And all this is doing is just extending the time that we have with the Bentonville using our shelter.
Temporarily.
Yeah, temporarily. They will actually be opening up their shelter by the end of February.
It's a month again,
7,700.
That's captured in the budget for next year.
Yes.
Where they stop paying.
Yes, yeah, when they stop paying, yes. Yeah, and this is just this extended time only. That's it. Nothing else changes. And I mean, they originally thought they were gonna be in by November, but you know.
We'll adjust the budget when the contract's up to the actual.
Any questions on this?
So if for some reason they don't get in,
Then they'll have to come back.
We'll have to, yes.
Yeah, but I talked to Chief Shasta. I talked to Chief Shasta. He was pretty confident they were gonna be ready to go. Actually, he thinks it'll be closer to the first part of February. He
I
wanted,
mean, we shouldn't really act like that money's there anyway, right? It's not gonna be there forever, just temporary.
all right, any more questions?
Resolution number 2022-44, a resolution approving an agreement to the approving an amendment to the animal services agreement between the city of Centerton, Arkansas and the city of Bentonville, Arkansas regarding animal control services.
Somebody make a motion to adopt or resolution 2022-44.
moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a second. Roll call, please.
Amy?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes, ma'am.
Josie?
Yes.
Yes.
Justin?
Yes.
Darren?
All right. Next resolution, and Carl, if he has any, you got any questions, he can answer. At our last A&P meeting, a couple of the commissioners asked if we could,
This one, what's that amendment, the animal control amendment?
that's what they just approved,
What was that for?
to extend the date.
The contract.
It's building a new facility, so they're gonna
It's
basically
extended the date.
through February for now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. All right. So, no, I'm on the wrong one. Hold on. I'm one too fast.
Yeah.
Okay. So this next resolution is 2022-45. At our last A&P meeting, a couple of the commissioners asked if they could start paying their A&P or submit their A&P taxes by credit card. And we talked to Carl. Carl said, yes, we just have to establish an account to put those funds in.
Yep. So I talked to First National Bank, and in order for us to be able to accept the credit card payments, we have to have an account set up that those payments will go directly to the A&P Commission account that's set up is not a quote unquote checking account. So we created an account called A&P Commission Tax so that we can accept credit card payments, and the goal is to accept online credit card payments.
Is there a fee for that, for an extra fee for businesses?
Is there,
Is there an extra fee for businesses to do that?
we have not talked about that, to tell you the truth,
If possible, like,
transaction fee.
yeah.
That's why a lot of
I
your
have to see what the bank's gonna charge me.
We haven't done this before for credit cards. Like, how was it being
Not-
done before?
Not with the A&P tax money, no.
Right, how, do we know how it was being done before?
They wrote a check, they cash.
Question, and this is the unrelated but related. Where are we at on getting the website integration with marketing these businesses there versus fund-based?
I was going to give you an update on the A&P Commission. I talked about it then, so. But, we are, I have a whole update from that A&P meeting. I was going to give it to council,
Okay.
so. And to answer someone's question, right now, we do take credit card. There is a $350 flat charge for that. I don't know what the charge will be for this, though. It'd be less than $350 or less, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's
paid for by the person that's using it,
Yes.
by the city.
Transaction, yes. Yeah. Convenient fee.
That mean my FOIAs are gonna be cheaper?
Hmm?
My FOIAs be cheaper? Is that what that means?
No.
That'd be more money?
AMP,
Oh,
This is
okay.
AP.
I was trying to get my.
All right, so do we have any more? Any more questions on this?
you got jokes.
All right, council.
Resolution number 2022-45. A resolution to authorize establishment of new bank accounts at First National Bank of NWA for the creation of an A&P commission checking tax accounts to designate individuals authorized to perform various actions on behalf of the city of Centerton with regard to said accounts and for other purposes.
Someone like make motion to adopt the resolution 2022-45. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Oh, Darren did second. I'm sorry. Second. All right. Roll call, man.
Josie? Yes. Justin?
Yes.
Misty? Yes. Darren?
Yes.
Keith?
Yes, ma'am.
Amy? Yes.
All right, Lorraine, I'm gonna bring you up for this next one. I know you can't wait. We're good. Now, so this next one's resolution 2022-46. This is agreement with a company called Point and Pay. And this enables us to take this enables us to take payments for the new software with SmartGov. And is that about right?
One of the questions yes, it's the payments on SmartGov, right?
Through the SmartGov, this was just a merchant that handles the credit card transactions.
What is the fee though?
Okay, do you have the contract?
That I actually had this question written down. I saw this on the agenda. One of
one
the
right here?
questions when we signed up for SmartGov was, is there any other fees that are coming that we need to know about? So this is one of those.
30% and minimum is $2.
They're actually a lot less than our credit card fees that we charge right now when they make payments by credit card.
And this would be, what would this be for? This is for
When they, if they, well, developers.
developers, okay.
Develop, anyone that's doing an application online. If they pay by credit card, then they will be charged that.
You using SmartGov right now?
No, it's not. We're still.
When is that gonna finish? That, like, when is all this?
Scheduled to finish until actually around May 23rd, I think is the actual finish day, but.
You go live. Take
18 is the go live.
Yes, and why would we need this right now?
Because it takes 3 months for them to integrate and get everything set up.
This is not costing the city, this is costing the people that use it, just like a credit card fee.
Just like. Like when we run a credit card at City Hall, they charge the fee on there. This will automatically charge them. But at a lower rate. I mean, I thought it was a good rate.
Any more questions on this?
And it's passed the Carl test.
Great. That's good stamp.
Counselor?
City of Centerton Resolution number 2022-46. A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute on behalf of the city an agreement with Point and Pay, Oldsmar, Florida, for payment system for the city of Centerton, Arkansas.
Someone like make motion to adopt resolution 2022-46.
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, roll call, sir.
Ma'am.
Ma'am. We always used to say, it. Ma'am, I
Keith?
apologize. Go ahead, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Darren?
Yes.
Misty? Yes. Amy? No. Josie? Yes. Justin?
Yes.
Okay, Alan? All right, so on the drainage manual, we want to table this one or do we want to move forward with it?
I'm fine either way. Like I said, I didn't receive the concern firsthand. I got through third hand. Or an engineer called one of the planning commissioners that called me. So there's one they were concerned with. It's the one they've had concerns with a lot going through the whole thing. Is the storm sewer design is all the cities around allow you to put the pipes underhead, so they're under pressure when they're flowing. They're design storm. And I'm getting rid of that, so you can't have them where they're under pressure during the 10-year. With larger storm events, so for our larger roads, it can still be that way. Just not on the 10. There's a discrepancy where it contradicts itself. I don't see that it does. If they want time to review it. I'm fine tabling it until next month we have to, so they can review it. I'll make some changes to it. So we're going through now. For me, it's 6 months, half a dozen. So.
I'll make a motion to table resolution 2022-47. I heard a motion and I heard. All in favor? Anyone opposed? All right, next, and I was asked to bring this up in the December meeting. I was asked to bring the American Rescue Fund distribution back to the.
Hold on, we're on the Roush Coleman.
Oh, I got one.
Okay.
Yeah, all right, it's okay, sorry. Getting old.
Get ahead of yourself.
All right, so. So on this resolution, I did email this to you yesterday. And I'll let you know, that it was to ratify and approve the settlement. However, I did receive a call from the attorneys from the Municipal League. And they asked we table this till next month so they could be present at the meeting. I'm sorry, I had a circle on the table, so. Does anybody have any questions or okay with that?
Justice League.
So would someone like to make a motion to table or resolution 2022-48?
So moved.
Second.
All right. We got a motion. Did you get the second? Nicole? Are you good? All right, all in favor?
Bill, can I ask, why was the information sealed by this request of the city on this?
I'm sorry, what?
The information sealed by the city?
Sealed?
Yeah, and you can't get the information from the court, the details of it, and it was sealed at the request of the city is what I was told.
That would be a question for him, but I don't know. It's federal court.
Who told you that?
Somebody at the city, but you're saying
You
it's,
know who it was with it? Because yeah, they would have told you wrong.
okay, so it's not, we can get all the information.
No, the judge ordered it to be sealed, so you'd have to take it up with the judge, yes.
Be sealed.
Well, that would be a question for the judge.
Yeah.
So back to the American Rescue Plan. Sorry, I got ahead. So a couple months ago, the council asked me in December to bring back the American Rescue Plan discussion. So we could, decide, what we want to do with this. So initially, when we received these funds, I put on the screen what, we had a meeting and the council approved that two payments of $650,000 would go to Synergy Utilities. Police and Fire, we received $500,000. Parks and Rec would receive $450,000, which they have spent $178,000 on lighting, which was part of this. The shelter received $40,000 to repair a floor. Then the council discussed giving Centerton Cares $40,000 at that time and then $40,000 in. Okay, so after that, the council advised me to go ahead and put a public notice out and take applications from nonprofits and see if they want to apply. And this is the ones we received. We did have one additional one with Drew, which was 72 West, the farmer's market up there. He asked for like $3,000. So I've taken that off. So here's the current request we have. Also, the council did ask for financial statements from these folks. They were, put in Dropbox, the ones who supplied them. So that's where we're at. So I guess, we need to decide what, if any, you want to give these folks or what we want to do moving forward. So we can also give these folks an answer.
So Is the urban flock the one that's on Town View?
Yes, sir, it is. Yeah, the farm.
Are they still operating?
I'm sorry.
This is my concern about this one. We're going to do improvements on private property. That property is not owned by a nonprofit. That property is privately owned. The rest of those up there are nonprofits. I mean, I understand what that gentleman's wanting to do, but I would hate to make improvements on private property and then 3 years from now they decide to sell. How does that impact that? I mean, since the rest of these are set up as nonprofits, they have to follow the regulations of a nonprofit. But if we all of a sudden give Urban Flock $125,000 to build a big old nice barn on his property. I know he does stuff. I'm not saying he does stuff. I'm not saying that the man is dishonest. I'm just concerned that we're making improvements on private.
I thought the understanding of this, I thought we had, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I just to follow up on your point, just be careful, because those donations really, when you're giving out government taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. I thought we had a discussion on this and said there's expenses that were the ambulance service is something that we
Right.
never would have forecasted. And I thought, Bill, I thought we're dancing around the top here. I thought we said these things came to our city. We didn't have them planned. That's a first response type of deal, and that's where some of this money is to go is the ambulance service because of. I mean, that's taking care of our citizens. To your point, taxpayer dollars.
The danger that you run into with doing this, and I'm not saying don't do it, I don't want to be the bad guy in the room. But please,
Why are we?
the danger in doing this is these things have to be a benefit to every citizen in the community.
And I thought the ambulance service is what we chose.
That's
So
what
Ambulance service is.
we talked about this.
why are we dancing around saying the council is gonna talk, like we talked
No, I
about.
think we need to give these organizations an update.
Because we never shut it down. We never,
Be no update. It should
We're dancing around it. Talked about, sorry,
we talked about it, but we never reached a decision.
why we're dancing around it.
I was told to bring this back in December and
Well-
and we need to make a decision. So that's what we're doing.
We asked to bring this back in December so we could make the decision. And our decision, because we couldn't vote on it in the work session, we had to vote for it now.
Here we
So we talked about saving these funds for the ambulance service. So this,
I'm fine with that.
this session is to be able to vote for that.
No, that's fine.
And to your point, it's not that we didn't take it, we didn't take this lightly at all. It's at the time, this ambulance thing was not even an issue.
Right.
For those that don't know, Northwest changed the contracts, came back and rebid, and this was a very unexpected expense. So I mean, I think it's taking care of everybody.
Regardless of the ambulance, all I'm saying is you gotta be careful because these have to be a benefit or an available benefit to every member of the community. And if they're not, then I don't know that they'll pass the smell test.
Right. I agree.
So I apologize. I missed the work session where y'all talked about this for the ambulance. So, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that. I mean, then it's gonna pass the smell test. If it's gonna benefit all of our citizens, you know.
The ambulance would.
So, although I know some of the organizations up here are very worthy, but
Yeah.
hate to put them out, but at the same time, I'm in favor of an ambulance service.
Yes, absolutely.
And what was a number that goes straight to the ambulance total?
The total for the ambulance, but
I mean, on this part. Bill, anything?
it was 500,000 for the ambulance. Fire and police.
Okay.
But the total ambulance outlay is 1.8.
Yeah, I knew that.
1.8
I
million.
mean, like you said, taking care of it.
And we have until when to use these funds? 2020?
Into 2020.
Okay, so we still have time.
Money is being used. I
Yes.
mean, it's,
The money is being used.
okay.
I'm not a council person, so I shouldn't really tell you what, but with my money, I'd stick it.
Say we make a motion to do this towards the ambulance. This is what we,
I thought that's what we.
this is what we asked to do, so.
Yeah, so.
Which is part of their budget.
That's.
We do have a motion. And we have a second. Misty, a second.
Oh, but these funds all go to the ambulances. I missed. I just
Well, I don't know that all the funds.
Well, these right here, it's 359.
Okay, yes.
359.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We have any more discussion?
want to make sure I know what I'm voting on.
Let's do a roll call on this.
He wants to speak yet.
But this money's really already.
Wait.
You're asking to put those on hold, right?
No. We're gonna just not fund any of them.
We're funding an ambulance service. So what happened, Northwest had come to cities locally and said, we're gonna rebid our contracts. And at that time, it's like, okay, do you outsource and pay? Or do you buy your own ambulances, support their own service and be here in Centerton to support our citizens? And that's kind of where we're going with it. Is at the time that wasn't even on the table. They came to us after the initial presentation happened, and so.
There are no original funds for any of those that applied to what you're saying.
At this moment.
I wouldn't earmark them for anything. I would just leave them in.
Yeah, that's, I make a motion to do that. What? To take this money and put it towards the ambulance.
Okay, and then, yeah, we have that, and we have a second by Misty. Any more discussion? Okay. Go ahead and do a roll call.
Amy? Yes. Justin?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Rosie? Yes. Aaron?
Yes.
Misty? Yes.
And I've got a question on that, and I'm gonna direct it to our assistant chief.
He's not listening.
Mr. Gavin.
Gavin.
Mr. Gavin, I've got a question for you. Has there been any change as far as the county judge on allowing Centerton to service ambulance service outside the city?
Not so far.
So somebody needs to notify the people right outside our city limits as to how long it's going to take ambulance service to respond to them.
And I don't know the exact answer to that yet. The county may move ambulances around, but as it stands right now, like a response to Tullamore, for example, would be coming from Rabbit.
Unless the one Grambit ambulance is out on a call, then it's gonna have to come from
Probably high.
somewhere further out. So you're looking at devastation to somebody that's in an emergency.
Usually, yes.
How's the staffing right now? Do we know yet?
For
I mean, we're a month away. How's the staffing on filling the ambulances at this point? Can anybody speak to that?
I think I've
we're
heard.
pretty much finalized. We've got everything we need.
That's awesome.
It really,
So we've taken that, we basically, we have the crew to fill it now. I know that was good for us.
Yeah, we've got everything to staff these two ambulances 24/7. The only things.
Centerton.
Yes.
Awesome.
They'll be switching the forms at midnight.
Yeah.
I think the only things that we're really working on are clerical.
Yeah.
Trying to dot all the i's, cross all the t's. We have one little holdup with the IRS trying to get a number from them, and they have not given us that yet, but
Yeah, I'm sure they're behind, but great work.
but we expect to have that done by the end of the year.
You get the billing set up. I know there was different companies.
That's
Billing set up.
set up except for this number.
And then also, Matt, once we go over there, the ambulance is just about complete. They're right across the street over here at the ambulance place, but they're just about done. So we'll have delivery well ahead of when we need.
No, they're in
That's in
county.
the county.
Oh my gosh.
We got a.
You think that's something we could utilize social media for the right reason and post a map of what we cover? That way it's out there. I mean.
We got one of the justices of the peace that lives. Borders.
Joel.
Centerton. No, he's in the city limits, but. She will have to wait for Highfill ambulance. Unless she drives into the city. Centerton to get an ambulance called to her location.
Can we post that map on Facebook or social media or the website relatively soon with updated announcements? 'Cause I think that's something that we need to get out there pretty quickly, because you don't have the answer to that yet, but I think if we get a map out there, at least we get out in front of it a little bit.
Right, and I mean the only reason I don't have an answer to that is because that's.
Yeah.
County's doing, I don't know if they're. planning to, adjust the ambulance locations where they'll be responding from to
I think it's an exciting city announcement.
compensate for that a little bit, but right now they're not allowing us to take over.
And the tricky deal on that is our fire districts aren't gonna change. So in other words, we provide fire outside the city limits, but we can't
Ambulance.
send our ambulances into our fire district.
That's insane.
Do you have first responders on fire trucks?
We have,
So they would get some care before the county or others.
just can't transport.
We have ALS engines still that can respond.
That's a good point.
but our ambulance-
It made it sound like they would have no care.
How can we change it?
Because they just won't have transport until the other city.
Judge's decision.
Hey, we got more questions for John?
No, but Mayor, can you go back? Can you tell us, are you gonna update, are you going to contact these organizations?
Yes, I sure will.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no, I sent him a message, let him know this was gonna be on the tonight, and then I would tell him I would update him.
Thank you.
I'll do that first thing in the morning.
Yeah, let's put something on social media, or even on the website that. about
Yeah, I'm actually thinking about making the announcement of the ambulance and then show the coverage, Matt, and, I'll work with Matt and John, we'll figure something out. We'll do it pretty quick. All right. So the next order of business. And we talked about this, at our meeting last week. Is we would like to take the position of animal control director. And change, not have that position no more since it's gonna be under the police department, but have an animal control supervisor. Which be more of a senior animal control officer out there. We did come up with a job description. Which is here and we've talked about it. Chris has looked it over. He feels pretty good with the job description. Jocelyn worked on it and we feel good about what we.
What's the current title?
Right now, the current title would be director.
No, I'm sorry, but is that already filled or are we hiring it?
No, we're gonna put it out as soon as we get this approved.
Sweet.
We wanted to wait to get the approvals.
Yep.
We, before we do this, you get an update on,
Yeah, he's gonna update it right before public comment. Yes, he's gonna give you a very lengthy. Yes, ma'am. And then also I did, because I think one of you asked for the job description, animal control officer.
Hey, before you get too far out there, was I sleeping? Or did you not take a vote on those funds?
we did.
Yeah, they did.
You took a roll call vote?
They sure did. It was a roll call vote.
I'm sleeping.
It was a roll call vote.
Very good, thank you.
All right, so back to this. Does anybody have any,
You were sleeping.
does anybody got any questions on this? I'd like to make a motion to allow us to change the title, animal control director to animal control supervisor.
Moved.
And a second.
Where does it talk about the euthanization of animals in here?
I don't know.
We're not doing that anymore. We're outsourcing it to animal shelter.
Does it, okay.
That is, I mean.
Yes, we are.
To animal shelter to the vet.
To the vet, I'm sorry, not animal shelter, good grief.
Bit about, yeah.
But that, that's terrible. That's not politically correct. Not politically correct. I'm sleeping now. Do we need to have something in there as a stipulation though to call out?
He's actually in the process. He's making new SOPs and.
But if we're approving this, it probably needs to be in there, right? Duties and
No,
responsibilities.
because if he's not gonna do it, it shouldn't be in his job description.
There will be no euthanization, something like that. I mean. I'm just
No,
saying.
Well, I mean, this is a job description.
There's nobody at the shelter that is certified to do it right now.
Jeremy is, but we
Jeremy is certified.
It's actually, yeah.
removed the drugs and it's all over here.
Wait, hang on a second. Isn't this right here, number 15?
That's required, maintain.
Oh, it is in there, Bill. It says euthanization as required.
Number 15?
Maintain control, what is that? Can we take that out? That's not very clear.
That one should be taken out completely.
That's on.
Policy and procedures that we'll be looking at. As to when they happen, but as far as saying that we can't never do it, I don't know if that's gonna be anything we really want to put a stipulation on based on.
It shouldn't say perform, that's the word, it shouldn't be in there.
But can we do this, though? I would like to see maybe something in there that where one person is not
We're required to.
Be in charge of this,
The
like,
budget
it's
is
still
go over.
2 or more people.
That's what Captain Kelly's gonna go over.
He's gonna go over.
All right,
Okay,
So you're gonna have somebody that can do it, but then you're gonna have the 2 or 3 step process.
this is why I wanted him.
If
to
we're
go
gonna do-
first
That's why I want him to go
before
first,
it's
before
for
he
these
approves them.
questions.
And if we want to do that, we can also add that to our code too.
Yeah, so that's something else that we can also adjust in our ordinances that cover that, because our ordinances do need to be reworked. Kind of got already that kind of in the process. That's been going on for a little bit because they kind of contradict themselves, the way the codes are and stuff. So that's something that'll be a little bit longer term project. But as far as our policy and that's look at, that will also outline. What I would like is we're gonna have someone at the shelter supervisor, either myself or the chief, or at least a command member of the PD before anything like that would occur. So that's what's gonna be outlined in our policy or something along those words, that ultimately there'll be 3 people signing off on anything like that. So, and then currently Jeremy is certified, but there's a big process with DEA licensing. I've got half of that over into my name, but the other half I'm still not DEA. And that's to even be able to purchase different drugs that we may use. And one of those also is, to tranquilize, because I mean, if we have an aggressive dog, that may be something that's a lot safer on everybody, the dog, the staff, to sedate, bring to, and go from there. So that drug is used for more than, it's a mixture for euthanization. Other part of it is used for sedation only.
Simplify it, there are 2 drugs. One's to sedate, the other is to euthanize. Or not, you don't combine those. It's a 2-part process.
Questions? Anything else?
Can I ask a question? If we are going to be outsourcing euthanasia to a vet, are we going to be holding on to those drugs that we have currently in stock?
Yes, they're in the police evidence room. I've taken them from the shelter and over to the police evidence room.
They're locked, they-
Same place, they don't live in that thing.
okay, so we're not beginning like, we've got,
Stress pills.
Not being used.
Comfort to everyone, I've relinquished my keys and I've made sure that everybody's keys have been transferred to the possession of the chief.
I think what she's asking though, that we will keep the sedation drug, but not the euthanization drug.
So currently, right now, until we get this policy and procedure down, we're not gonna be doing either or. We've got to request assistance from an outside agency, and that's what we'll do. So until all that, and that DEA license is done, we cannot utilize either one of those drugs legally at all.
Would somebody make a motion to, did we already make this motion? I'm sorry, did we?
Yes.
Did we make a motion to do this already?
So moved.
And we have a second, we're just waiting for me to take a vote now?
Yes.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay. All right. This next item, and we've seen this before, this is over at 280 Fair Street, the trailer park. Every time they move a trailer in, they have to have a moving permit, which they go through the planning commission, which they have been through the planning commission. And this gentleman who's doing this, it's the same one who's moved the other 2 we've approved in the past guy. His whole goal is to put all newer trailers in this park. There's some very old ones in there. He's been actually tearing them down and replacing them with newer trails. So this did come to the planning commission last meeting on December 6th. They approved the permit, or approved, recommended for us to approve it.
This time it was just done before the move.
Yeah, it was done before it was moved. Yeah, it's a vacant spot over there. Lot 1, which is the first one. So, does anybody have any questions?
So they are moving it back, correct?
They're gonna move a new one in there. Yeah, they tore the old one down.
They're moving the lots back, where the new or the old one's set, they're moving the new one.
They're putting all new electrical and everything in there. Yeah. Okay, so I'd like to make a motion to approve this permit.
Moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, this next is this acknowledge and receipt. The Water and Sewer Commission did send me their budget. And this is acknowledging receipt of it. Did you want to say anything on it, Bob?
Well, I just like.
I know you stood up, so.
Yeah.
Point out a few things. Just to make it easier for you. We project revenues next year being $14,257,000. We have an operating expense budgeted for $11,472,100. Our debt service will be $2,635,659. We plan on making capital expenditures in the amount of $2,282,400. Vehicle inventory will increase by 2. But we will eliminate. Let's see, we're gonna get rid of 3, bring on. But increase our inventory by 2. For a total of 22 vehicles. And we're going to increase the number of personnel by 2 for a total of 33 people. This is all predicated, this budget has been predicated on rates. The study has been forwarded to the Department of the Division of Natural Resources for review under the provisions of Act 605 of 2021. We anticipate that we will be returning to you with sewer rates request and I talk about water rate increase. We have absorbed water rate increases for the last 3 years. Utah's going to increase the rate another 10 cents per thousand. And we anticipate there be a small sewer rate increase.
Give you an example of like that. What that, I mean, well, a lot of us don't understand. So break it down in terms of the average water bill. I know it's probably hard. I'm saying commercial.
I have, to tell you the truth, I haven't done that calculation.
I think it's good, but for those who listen to this meeting and they hear water increase.
If you, I'll put it like this, the average. In Centerton, the average is around 4,000 gallons a month.
Per household?
For a household.
Yeah.
It may have gone up a little bit, but I don't think so. We're looking at, their bill would go up about, for water would go up about $2.70 a month. And sewer would go up a little over $1.
Yeah. Okay. And then my other question is, who are we using for outsourcing payments?
Who are we using for what?
Who's the payments go through online? On utilities?
Who are we using for
Utility payments.
utility payments? I'm sorry,
Don't they use the,
Mine goes through the bank.
mine goes through some.
They have a second,
website,
they
it's
have a
like
third,
$5.
we have a third party, we have a contract with a third party. But don't ask me who it is, because I can't remember the name. And we've had it for several years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't use it because he charged me.
I'll just put it in the Dropbox.
I do too. I put it in the Dropbox.
I mean, yeah, we offer the opportunity for them to make a credit card payment through a third party. Or they can have a bank account charge. Or they can send us a check.
Why would we charge? for
When you bank account, you're not charged a fee.
Yeah, he's saying for a fee.
It's just auto.
I hate to said it wrong.
Okay, so it's free to do a bank account. Okay.
Everybody, if you go to bank account, that's free, they don't charge you.
What's the need for the rate increase? I didn't hear that at all.
Oh, the price that we are charged for treated water has gone up 3 times in the last 4 years, and it's going to go up another again in the 1st of January. And we've just been real close on the sewer.
That's our cost.
But tell her what you said, we've absorbed it for 3 years, and so this is not how,
Changed the rates for 3 years,
say that, yes.
okay?
That's what
We're about
helped.
to get a fourth rate.
Well, what would happen if we didn't increase rates?
We would run a negative balance possibly in our operation, and we would be heavily criticized by the state of Arkansas and the provisions of Act 605 of 2021.
What did you say, Dan? What did you say?
We would be,
Run a negative balance.
okay, I'll put it like this.
It's gonna affect the bond, credibility
Yeah,
or,
well, this budget. The way we budgeted, we will not endanger our debt rating. Okay, or endanger our debt covenants. But under the provisions of Act 605 of 2021, we're required to do a rate study at least every 5 years. We can't do it every 5 years. We have to do it every 2 or 3 years. Yeah, you have to realize, we are growing at a rate of 9% a year and have been doing that for 7 years. And I don't care what the price of houses is doing right now, folks, we're going to grow another 9% in 2023. And that's a year over year, 9%.
Keep bringing multifamily.
Okay, so it's very difficult for us to budget way out or forecast way out, but we try. But under provisions of Act 605, 2021, every rate study has to be sent to the Division of Natural Resources for review. And the last one we sent early this year, we sent one. We got back a nasty comment that said, you are showing a negative operating amount. It wasn't very much, but it was negative operating. And they were, highly critical.
Thank you for that.
The state, so just the states developed this Act 605, which I guess is gonna go back before the legislature this year for amendment. But and they've come up with this formula, which I don't necessarily agree with, but.
Well, I mean, this is a public meeting, so I will not make the statement about the truth of the matter. Okay? Believe me, the municipal league is all over this. You have to understand, our utilities director, Frank Holzkammer, until he retired, was a member of the steering committee of the state legislature. Built the bill that became Act 605. Unfortunately, there are some paid hired hands down at the Division of Natural Resources that don't understand basic accounting. Right? They work very hard. We work very diligently to minimize the cost to the consumer. But please understand, until we got that $1,600,000 or $1,300,000 ARPA money to build that gravity sewer this year, that's the first grant money that we ever got. And it will be probably the last money we will ever get. And we don't get any tax money. And our system didn't exist prior to the 1970s. You look at all these other communities, these big communities in Northwest Arkansas, and they built their systems 100 years ago, or 80 years ago, or 70 years ago, with a lot of highly subsidized government money. And we never got any of those subsidies when we went to it. We've had to, our ratepayers had to pay the cost. You try. We're you know, the rates that you'll see proposed next month will be the best we can do. And we will minimize.
I mean, I think that's one of the sensitive subjects of this city. I think that's also something to probably put on our website or on social media, share why that happens, because some just don't understand that. Maybe not that whole story, but something that explains a little bit about how it works.
I think what most people don't get is that if you don't make a profit on the water side, you can't invest in the future and it's gonna blow up.
Well, I mean, I'll put it like this, we fully fund depreciation. Okay. We do that because we know we are going to have to repair and expand. Okay. There are a lot of, and I did water and sewer consulting for years. There are a lot of systems that have never funded depreciation. And as soon as they have an emergency, they go in a panic mode because they don't have any money. Well, we at least got some money that we can take care of repairs. And we can do some little modifications, run a few lines here and there. But, you know, it just, you know, so that's why Act 605 came around. I expect that there will be several amendments made to the law in this session of the legislature. And because there are some things in that, there are some things in the law that will make it difficult for larger systems. And we are now in the larger system. There is a city in West Arkansas that will be in extreme trouble. They're already in extreme trouble. They'll just be in worse trouble under the Provisions Act 605. All right. Sounds good, Bob. Thank you, sir. All right, tomorrow. Okay. So, does anybody, would somebody like to make a motion to acknowledge receipt of this 2023 water and sewer budget?
So moved.
Got a motion? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, a couple more quick things. And I put this letter in your packet. I hope everybody had a chance to read it. Several months ago, myself, the police department, Edgar, Anthony, several of us met with RDOT out here over at Grimsley. Talking about what can we do to get this road on the future plan, you know, the widen. And one thing that Steve Lawrence recommended that we send a letter. And we are doing that. And you know, basically we're just, you know, in my letter, I'm just talking about the growth on Highway 279, you know, all the development in Bentonville, XNA. And I got all these folks to sign the letter with me, myself, the mayor of Bentonville signed it. Yesterday, Aaron Burks from XNA, the CEO, Mayor Heifel signed it, and so did Dr. Jones with Bentonville Schools. So I'll be sending this off first thing in the morning. And hopefully we, you know, just get this on, you know, get this on their future plan. If we can get on the plan, then maybe we can move it back. But we just want to get it programmed into their system first.
You have to go to 279 north, is that what you're saying?
279 from 102 to Highway 12. By Grimsley School.
79 south.
Start the construction on that in 2024.
I'm sorry, what?
Was that not approved?
Oh, no, this is 102 is starting 2024, yes.
Okay.
This is to get 279 from 102 to 12.
There was a portion of it that was on the plans. That they weren't going all the way to the Grimsley, but that's all it was for.
Yeah.
It's also known as Vaughn Road.
Okay.
So we,
There's no plan as of now to do anything on 279, and this is a letter to commission them to do so.
yes,
To try to get them to put it
yeah,
on.
get it on their plan, yes.
Okay, and there's no signs still not put up. Have we not got those yet?
Edgar, come on, give us an update.
They're actually sitting right at the office as we speak. We were actually not given the proper brackets, nor did they provide the batteries, which that part of the product, it should have been included. So they're actually saying we will pour concrete the bases Thursday. So expect that light should be up. Give it a week or two so that concrete does.
279. You're doing the same thing on Fish Hatchery too, right?
That's correct. Yep. So it is sitting there and you came right on time because I did tell you it was gonna take 6 to 8 weeks to get the parts, so we got right as they told us.
Okay, we ready to move on?
Yes.
Okay. Also, while I was on this subject, Amy several months ago brought up the possibility of maybe taking over Main Street. So I asked them that question too. And they said that, you guys can go in negotiation, they're open to negotiation with them. Where they would come in and fix the road, repair it, put the sidewalks in, then we can take it over. The only thing I want to get from the council is, will you give me permission at least to negotiate? You can't do nothing until we.
Does that mean no more dump truck Tuesday?
I know it'll be probably wider, but I don't know if they'll do it, but I just want to see the council give me, to go ahead and at least open up that door and see.
From where to on Main Street though?
From 102 all the way up to 72.
Okay, so does that include would that include crosswalks right there by Hallelujah, things like that?
Yeah, that's something we would
Okay.
negotiate. Like I said, we'll open up the door and see if they'll, at least talk to us about it.
And I like that you brought this up, because when I brought it up, everybody laughed at me.
Well,
In the current condition, you don't want it.
Yeah, we don't want the current condition. Yeah,
the
we want
problem is in the future,
to make sure.
it's gonna have to be widened and
Right.
they're not gonna widen.
Everybody.
Right.
So that's
Gonna have
gonna
to take a
fall,
building.
that's gonna fall on the city of Seneca to widen it. So
There's some properties that,
there's too much that's already developed. There's more that's developed. And it's not gonna be developed, so.
there's not enough right away by Davin
No.
Electric or
We should
Bimco.
have thought about this before.
That was, Bimco's been there for,
But on the other side, you got Davin Electric and then there's power lines,
and the
Old City Hall.
City Hall,
Yeah.
the front of
built
City
on
Hall,
everything.
old City Hall would have to come off to give you what would have for right away. The Ravington, we'd have to
Yeah,
purchase the Ravington.
the roads cost less than
Well,
that.
it's not even that, it's all the way up. We've approved that whole corridor
Right, I
for
mean,
things.
the big thing is because of the old downtown, which is then there pre-me. So,
And how long is that?
Yeah. So the only thing I wanted to see, I mean, we're not making any financial, just open the door, see what they can do.
Yes.
I have no issue with the negotiations, but we are, I
Yeah, we don't know.
think long-term, when it becomes ours. Okay, right now, say with our next year budget, we got $2,000 surplus.
Yeah.
When it comes to maintaining that in the future, that's 2.5 miles.
That's why we need revenue producing business.
Hopefully, when they come in, they rebuild it all. I mean, they'll rebuild it and recompact it and put, do everything they're supposed to do.
as they did the last time and it fell through within 6 months, so.
It'd be great if they improved the sidewalks. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, I agree with you. All right,
Will Alan be in on that conversation too?
of course.
Okay.
And Edgar would be too, yes. All right. I got,
Can I have one more thing? Since
What are some roads?
you are talking roads, is there any lobbying the state to take 102 to 279 north?
not at this time, no, it's all about funding.
Well, when we had the meeting with RDOT, that was strongly suggested and they said that they would take it under, at least they told me they've taken under advisement, but I mean,
We need to continue lobbying for that, not just say they took it under the advisement, we're done, what they said. We need to continue lobbying for that. Am I wrong?
no, I think you're right. I'm totally opposed to them stopping.
Because this is such a. Right, and then once you do expand 279 the way it should be, you've got all those surrounding roads. Like, what are you gonna do with those that are not going to support the amount of? Cause Fish Hatchery, for one, is just
You have the email address?
awful.
Always contact the Arkansas Highway Commissioners.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Great idea. Let's share the email out, Bill. Let's.
Okay.
Let's blast them.
An email address for your representative.
I mean, I've already did my next.
You can also go to your, all of our representatives and for Northwest Arkansas and
Petition.
until we get the change of the pie where it's divided 4 ways for the state, the monies that come to, for the highways, it's divided not by population, not by how much money comes in per district. It's divided 4 ways. So Northwest Arkansas, and I'm gonna get in trouble for saying this, and I've said it.
Oh,
before,
gosh.
Northwest Arkansas pays for a lot of the roads that are done in less populated areas. But that's the way it's, the tax money for roads goes, it's split 4 ways. And so that's why you get roads that are not traveled near, that are being repaved because they don't have, they have to spend the money. So they repave roads that don't need it, but that's on.
So that's why, that's where that money is there, where the people that are allowed us, the people that are lobbying more are gonna get those funds. And so that's what I'm asking, is to continue to write, continue.
That's to change the, whatever it is that pays for the roads.
Well, they said.
So I mean,
That's what I'm doing right here with this, lobbying for this 279, so.
All the way, but I'm talking about 102 to 279 north. I'm talking about that as well.
that's something that we can do, everybody, by sending to the representatives, and state representatives, sending to the highway department and saying, look, the need is here, and they know it is, but they need a slap on the hand to say,
Well, on those things, because like Bill said, or the mayor is saying, be lobbying with other mayors to get stuff done, so we need to continue to lobby to go 102 to 279 north.
I agree. All right. All right, so the Rouse Coleman, we already talked about, so that, we're done with that one.
Are we
Quick,
able to share anything on that? Are you able to share anything on that?
oh, the PUD's in there, what was.
I know,
approved.
but for the citizens.
Oh.
I said it's a,
The only thing is we've settled they, part of it was to agree to the PUD, they've agreed to it, so.
a single family.
Yeah, it'll be single family, R3 single family, the PUD is, yes,
Yeah.
did not change the zoning. All right, next is just a real brief grant update. I did apply for the carbon grant,
Say Carter.
a carbon grant to work on this trail over here. We're working on McKissick Creek. I did get a $500,000 grant for that. You know, we applied for 3 of them and we finally got the 3rd one. Now we're working with the Walmart Family Foundation to provide some additional funding for this to get this thing up to Townview Road. And I'm talking to them now with Jeremy Pate over there, so hopefully we'll get something happening there pretty quick. Also, Chris, you want to tell them about the $100,000 grant you guys received?
Yes, so we applied for a grant for equipment and we ultimately got awarded 100,000. For camera systems and that have expiring or near expiring, so.
That's awesome.
Got everything sent over to them. It'll be one of the monthly reporting, how we're spending that, so. I'll get with Carl, kind of get the ball rolling on those things, but I think that's what we applied for. We applied for like 150, but we ended up getting 100. I've got the big one. So I had to sign the paperwork. And I reviewed it. So it's just right after the year.
Either of these matching grants, or is this 100%?
This one is just 100.
Ours is 20% match, but I will use the Walmart Family Foundation as the match.
Yeah, do you have this to show like all grants we've applied for and the status?
I can make you one, yes.
That'd be great.
I don't have it with, I can make one up, yes.
And then next year at the beginning of the year, we do that.
Yeah. Keep going. All right, you all have received our audit in the mail. We just need acknowledge receipt of it. If you have any questions, Carl can answer those. But he made you a copy too, but it's also, you all received it at your houses. So anybody got any questions on that?
We received the audit, we responded to the legislative audit committee. Telling them what we're gonna do to address the situation. One of the things we've done is we reconcile every bank account every day now. So that will stop a lot of fraud. Yo system, I've been here, what, 7 months? Yo system works, but I'm not crazy about it. So don't anybody jump to any conclusions, but I think we can do it better. And so I will probably be bringing something to you guys. And then the other big thing that we can do to address audit issues, I think, is to find a way to make all of our systems compatible with each other. And that means that I may have to buy new accounting software. I'm just to fit everything else. But that's something I'm gonna look into. I'm not jumping to
I
conclusions.
think that'd be great. I think that's the whole point of when we see all these systems coming.
So our goals for next year are to address software, get all the records in electronic form, and to write full policies and procedures and job descriptions.
I'd like to make a motion to acknowledge receipt of the audit.
Sorry.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Also, we did have a A&P meeting last Wednesday. And there are three folks that terms are expired. One is Josie, and she expired 22, but now that she's been reelected, we want to extend her term to 12/31/26.
Reappointed.
Reappoint, sorry. Who Josie is the chairman. Darren, he has still 2 more years on his term, so we want to reappoint him to 12/31/24. And then Amber has agreed to serve on there for another 4 years. So we want to expand her to 12/31/26 also. Somebody can make a motion to reappoint these folks. We got a motion, we got a second?
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, before we go to public comment, I asked Chris to come up and give us an update on this.
Wait, sorry, real quick. Are you gonna talk about the MP?
Yes, he's going to give an update on the shelter.
Wait, okay.
And then we'll take public comment, and then on other business, I got a whole list. Yes, sure. So Chris, I asked him to give an update, and here's some mock-ups. Sarah, wave your hand. Sarah is our custodian. She's real good at this kind of stuff. So she's made these drawings up, so this is just some mock-ups of what they want to do out there. So Chris, take it away, sir.
So I'll kind of go through some items that we're kind of working on addressing some of those concerns, both from the council, from the citizens. And I've been working through here to get some answers on a lot of them and kind of what we've done so far. Basically, we're right at about a week. So I wanted to give an update. Everybody would like an update from me on that. So the first thing I kind of like to talk about is there are some much needed remodels done. The shelter, I think it was built maybe around 08, if I'm guessing correctly. I wasn't here at that time, but it wasn't really meant to be, I think, the high intake that it's turned into be, and it's just, we're not really set up for that storefront. I don't feel like it's very, real appealing even to walk in. It's just, there's some cracks in the concrete. Concrete does that, but construction and stuff's come a long way. It's just not very appealing to take a member of the public in there and for it to be a real professional environment. So one thing I'd like to do, I think it'd be very important. You'll see in there in the pictures, the first one I want to do is get some light in there, make it to where it's not so closed off, looking like a jail. So the front doors, we're going to do something, I don't know if it'll be all glass like that, probably going to be more of half glass just because of the dogs. If they're out there playing around in some of the areas. The interior doors is not a big deal, but security is still, we do want the building to be secure when it's closed. So Probably something similar like with the city hall at the fire department. It's got the wire in the glass, you can still see through it. Walk up the door, you can see in. So once you come into the front door, this would be a reception area, right here on the bottom. So the idea of that is, if you walk in and, a big ask that I would have to really make this function good is I would like a front desk receptionist slash like an adoption specialist slash front desk. That way you got someone during business hours to answer all the phone calls. That's gonna be right up there at the front of the building. They're not having to come from a back kennel all the way to the front. And then, they're covered, these guys, they're taking care of this stuff. Jeremy and the other, if they're out handling calls, I just want better customer service, or someone comes in, there's someone there to greet you. Phone call and stuff, that would really help with that. That being said, we need that front desk area. This here is utilizing space that we already really have mostly. It's just kind of, I don't think that the cost would be astronomical to do this, but I want to make it, a little nicer. So when you come in that door, you're going to have some more light, make the windows a little bit bigger. There's already one there. Add a door that gives access. There's already a water fountain, give access to a bathroom slash a playroom. And also in that room, the dogs that are currently up and ready for adoption, we want to have like a little bio, like a photo there where if someone just comes in, like, oh, hey, I want to see this dog. We can have an intercom system, whether it be through the phones or something that we put in, and then our text will bring up, and then we'll have a nice introduction room that's nice, with chairs and stuff in there. It'll also kind of double as a little bit of an area for the staff members over there to, have a little break area, just a little small table. Right now, apparently, they really don't have a place to really do much of that. You'll see a shelf over in the corner. The idea is there. You have some like necessities and stuff that they could get, whether it be leashes, a harness, toys, whatever, some stuff that we could have there. Because purchase your new dog, you go down to Petco or something to get these things. We could have that there at the storefront, and they could kind of one-stop shop, get a few necessities. It's just kind of an idea. Like I said, Sarah's greatly helped with this. She's made this design. I want to give her a lot of credit on that because she's done a really good job on this. This here, there's a wall currently where that clock is right there. There's a small wall. You want to remove that, open it up, have 4 work areas. That way you'll have 2 kennel techs, 2 ACOs that have access to computers, their own little workspace with some cabinets and stuff. No one's ever going to be in there all at the same time. But I think it is important to have your own little work area that you can keep and maintain and be able to work out of. So that would just be taking out one existing wall. And then opening that space just to make it a little bit bigger. So we really wouldn't be doing a whole lot there, other than kind of taking out one little bitty small wall, going into what's currently being used as kind of a break room slash server area. It's very small, about a closet size space, but it will really help extend that office area to be enough to accommodate. On the back side of that, I want a better storage area for some of our items, one of them being dog food. Right now, we don't need the kennels, but we're using kennels as storage because we really don't have a good storage space.
Yeah, how much dog food do we have?
So I'll address that too, so we can just cover that now. So I got with Atwoods, was able to get my thoughts were, we've been gracious that we get a lot of donations. Donations right now kind of slowed down a little bit, but the issue I see with donations on sometime is that when you're dealing, with animals, to where there might be getting, kibbles and bits one day, next day it's really for a long-term stay animal, it's a little bit hard on their guts swapping that and stuff. So I think it's important to stay with a good grade food. So I did a little research, spoke with the staff members at Atwoods, talked with them and just about what is a good, medium protein, good fat, what's a good all around. And we settled on this, that we ended up buying, and I got 2 pallets of it right now. Our current, we're probably good for at least, that'll probably last us 4 months. Roughly.
As anything from puppy to big dogs?
Yeah, that'll vary. Right now we're using about 100 pounds of dog food a week. So that's a rough, because that does go up and down. But adoption rate has been really good in the time. I spent most of the week over there last week. Lieutenant's been helping me a bunch on the PD side and covering some things there and helping me with some of these tasks that I wanted to get answers on. So I could spend some time over there and really just kind of see how it functions.
Is there any grants we can ask for dog food?
I'm
I'm just saying,
I'm
that's
not
not,
sure. I'm not sure yet.
They have a budget.
I understand.
I mean, this, I got those 2 pallets for under $1,000. So relatively inexpensive. I mean, you can go way up, but it's a pretty good medium grade. And I just feel a lot better. And I'm not a vet, but I think that having them on a good diet, eating the same thing is probably better for them. You know, especially if we do have a long-term hold. Fortunately, we don't have that very often. We have a pretty good rate of back to owners. You know, adoption, just in the time I've been there, there's been a lot of, you know, adoption and stuff going on, people interested in dogs. So, I mean, and it's pretty cool to see them, you know, and a little bit of it is, it's like everybody wants to take it home, but if they have to be spayed or neutered, you know, it takes a little bit of time. So a little bit of heartbreak having to wait for some of those things to get done, but I just want more of a comfortable area. So they'll be able to go from that little clerk area on over into what we kind of like an introduction, little play area. I want the floor and stuff to still be easily cleaned up. You know, they make a mess while they're playing with them, but something's cleaned up, it's not gonna ruin. And then the next door right now currently is walking into that area. Want kind of like a little bit of a vestibule there. It can be opened up to go into a laundry room separate. We're gonna get rid of really all it is a regular residential tub up on a stilt. That's where we're washing the dogs in. You're having to wrestle them up in there. It's pretty tall. It's not very nice. I've got a solution for that. That we can order in here really quick. So that will be out of the way. I'd like to get commercial washer and dryer just because we're bedding and stuff. I mean, it's nasty. Some of them are bigger and stuff, so I'd like to get better washer and dryer, put it in a little area there and kind of use that as our intake. When our ACOs come in, they can use that door. There would be a door separating from going into the introduction area. And the reason that is just that way you don't have 2 dogs kind of interact with each other accidentally if they're trying to bring one in to intake it. So it's just kind of a little intake area. And we're adding a door in the current storage to where they can go into the shelter through there. Because we're not really set up to have a sally port. And that would cost efficiently wouldn't make any sense to try to create that with the way our septic is and all those items. So that's mainly it. The wash bay, I'm gonna move out into the kennel area. We have access to hot and cold water right there. Looking at a stainless steel, similar to what you see at like the dog wash at 72 at the gas station or the car wash, where you go in there and you can use that. Found that relatively inexpensive, around $750. We can have that installed pretty cheap. That will give a better facility to do that rather than trying to do with what we're working with right now. And I think these are just part of much needed upgrades. It's just kind of been, you know, an oversight through the years that it's, you know, it was all great. Everything worked great when it was built new, but now that we're several years down the road, our intake rate is a lot higher. It was really kind of meant to house and control animal population in Centerton. And now we've grown, the city's grown, we're helping other cities. It just wasn't really built for that is kind of what I'm seeing. Kennel space, we're good. We're more than good. I don't think it will ever be over full in the near future.
Especially when Bentonville opens up.
Yeah, and once Bentonville opens up, it'll be a moot point. A part of the kind of this process remodel, it looks like a lot, but really a lot of this stuff, it's really not as much as it seems. Really just kind of taking out a few existing items, updating some paint, updating some flooring. Very few new walls or anything. So of course we'll have to be in conjunction with you know, code on making sure we're up to code on all that, see what we need to do. Since that's out in the county, I believe is what I learned this morning. So I'll have to deal with that. Concrete issue. I'd like to talk about that just to kind of while we're in the construction phase. So we've had 2 companies come out and look at the drainage system. You know, I've seen it myself. It's, you know, the guys are kind of, you're trying to push stuff to drain, coming back out in their alleyways and walkways. And it's really not very user friendly when you're trying to put kennels. So really wanted to address that drainage. Two options there are. One is actually grinding down all the high spots and trying to get it to drain. One company's opinion of that was very, very messy, very high cost because of the amount of time that it would take in a confined area. It's gonna dust up and it's gonna be probably pretty nasty in the whole building. They can control it with vacuum and water, but you're still gonna have a pretty nasty environment for a little while. Second option is actually doing like a 4,000, I think you said either 3,000 or 4,000 PSI concrete. We wouldn't have to come up very much, but where those kennels are, actually would put up a little bit of a lip and slope that back to the drains. So if you coming on top of it, refinishing it down. They said as far as my concern was high traffic, would we wear that out? Would it start cracking? He said that what they would use for that mix would be more than adequate for a high traffic area because the animals are moving around a lot. And that would raise that up, and with that lip, that would eliminate the possibility of coming back out of the walkway, force it to those drains. So I think that may be our best option, is actually reworking on top rather than trying to cut down and grind. And I've done a little bit of research. The grinding is a pretty lengthy process, and you end up having that not that it matters, but you're gonna end up having the rock or, that's in the concrete showing. You're not gonna have a pretty finish. And I mean, you can still make it smooth, but it's gonna kind of look weird and patchy. So that's kind of, so as far as quotes, most of those are bidding that out square footage wise. Each of those kennels, square footage wise, they're gonna give us. I really wanted to have some ballpark estimates for y'all tonight, but I just haven't got those back from the gentleman that we've reached out to. But that is two options that we've looked at. I think both have kind of recommended that probably adding the slope on top of existing is gonna be more cost efficient and overall just a better solution to our problem there. The concrete slab and stuff like in the recreation area, the meeting and greeting area, and it's got some cracks and stuff. It's done what concrete does sometimes. So I would like to clean that up. Make it look better. I don't know that we want to put a flooring down. If you want something that's easy to clean that up. I don't know if epoxy or something like that would mask those cracks and make that look better. Be something to talk to with, with someone that does flooring and stuff, flooring specialist. But I'd like to keep that durability of concrete. I know I've heard both things. I've heard epoxy on high areas, especially with water involved a lot, might not be a good thing, but I've looked at a couple other options that seem to be maybe a little bit stronger than that. So just kind of looking into options with that.
Is the concrete that they're either gonna put on top or even in the greening area, does it have some grip to it, like if it was wet, you wouldn't slip?
Yeah, so what they would do is, he doesn't have an issue, or he doesn't think it'll be an issue with it adhering to it. They'll probably have to rough it up a little bit when they go in there and form that up. And then on the top, they wouldn't want it as slick as this. Because it actually benefits your dogs having a little bit of rough. It kind of helps condition them, and then believe it or not, files their nails down a little bit being in there. You don't want it extremely rough, but kind of like, broom texture is maybe a little rougher than what we would want, but a little bit. It's actually kind of good for them for dogs to kind of condition to not just have really sensitive pads all the time. It doesn't hurt them over time. It kind of like us, we callous our hands a little bit, where you use them. So if we did decide to hire a clerk, that would also, rectify there being locked doors at any time. So policies, as far as when we would be open, we would, I think Saturdays is when I'm understanding is one of our highest traffic for adoption. So we want someone there on Saturdays, even if it means, like some businesses do, Monday's closed, we're open on the weekend. If it's a 40-hour a week employee, or we get us on call on Monday, our other employees working can still handle it. It's not impossible, just wouldn't be walking in the door. I think that'd be more important to have that on Saturday versus say a Monday.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's my idea on that. One concern was HVAC in the building. I'm doing some research on that. The reason being is I've heard a little bit of, there could be some issues with spreading viruses and stuff, depending on, circulation of all the air throughout. You may have to have multiple units if we did get to that point. I think that would be later on down the road, if that's something that we want to address right now. More fans, more ventilation. and a better insulation. I think better insulation is gonna help with both the heat and the cold. It's gonna help on our utility bills. Right now, we're using mini splits in the office areas and stuff that's highly inefficient. And they're very hard to get anybody, if anybody, to work on them or get parts to repair them. Like at a minimum, they'll get central heating and air unit in this office space. That probably would be our most cost that I've seen so far. But right now, we're just running off basically they're just glorified window units and they're don't really work very well. So HVAC as far as back in the kennel area, that's something, we do have some resources out there. People have reached out. I've met with a few that was in that last meeting at the special meeting. We got some awesome ideas, a lot of feedback. So I just got to make sure that's something that's going to be good for the animals that are in there. If we're going to create a hazard, maybe there's a better way to address the heat and such. And I haven't been out there during a hot day to see, but we do have a new fan that was purchased, I think, in September. Get that thing going. It's a really big fan, but see if ventilation and insulation may help a lot of our issues and see where we're at. I'm reached out. I'm gonna try to get some quotes on HVAC, so we have an idea. And then that way I'll have at least a ballpark to give you all. If we want to move forward with that later on, then I have an idea on what we might be looking at cost wise. If it's safe and that's something we want to do, I'm thinking that might be something we want to address a little bit sooner. Even this area up, storefront stuff, get an HVAC in this area would probably be something that we should do sooner than later. And a little easier while we research on. That thing's basically it's basically a shop is what it is. And we have some foam insulation on the backside. I don't really know how thick it is. It doesn't look that thick. But foam insulation is good about sealing up everything. Although they're a small leak issue we need to address. There are a few other things that I've seen. But it's like a web iron truss building. They're just framed on the inside. So, I mean, it's basically a little bit of a garage or a shop and, turned it into this. So I think that we need to make the building more efficient. Otherwise it'd just be pumping a whole bunch of air in there and we have a $3,000 a month utility bill. It might be money well spent, better insulate, seal up and stuff. Evaluate that. Dogs for the beds. Best Friends is helping us out with that. We're looking at setting an event up that people could come and help us put them together, help them get up. Mayor Bill's working with Jackie on that in the email thread that I think that y'all are on. So we'll
Beds.
yeah, they're elevated beds to put in there just to get the dogs up where they can hop up on it and get up off the concrete.
It helps get up off.
We're gonna plan to have those.
She said.
He said 6.
Was around Christmas.
Yeah. One time, around the.
It's 26.
26. We got bedding and stuff that we're using right now, but there's a lot of benefits to get them off the ground as far as, waste and stuff that comes from the animals that, that gets on the bedding and stuff. It makes it nasty faster. And so that'll be a good thing. We did have some beds, but we don't have enough. So Jackie Roach would help us out with that issue.
Are easy to keep clean too. You
Yeah,
can just
they're
spray
easy
them
to-
out.
Easy to spray. That's another thing. I'm gonna get some power washers right now. I don't have no way to, do that. Use scrubbing. I think that'll help with cleaning and stuff. Be a little bit more efficient. That's a low cost to cut down a lot of man hours. So looking at doing that. Food we already talked about. Another big thing is a software for the shelter to track all this stuff that everybody had brought to our attention, feedings, medical, an actual unique identifier tracking number, all those things kind of into one, donation intake list, all that stuff. I would like to kind of hopefully find a system that it'll all work. We're trial and error.
Hey, why don't we just reach out to all the 14 animal hospitals they're building in Bentonville and see what they're using? There's something up.
Best Friends has.
Yeah, I reached out.
But let's think compatibility to your point that talks to something. So let's get ahead of that.
The software from what Jackie was saying is cloud-based and it's really
This is
inexpensive.
we're using shelter, what we're trial and error right now is Shelter Love. It's $2 in adoptions. It's cloud-based. You can access it anywhere. I think we're trying it right now. I put it on a tough tablet, basically is what it is, that we use in some of our patrol cars. Got a barcode reader and stuff, a stylus. My idea behind this is instead of having paper sheets and stuff that can get wet and ruined, barcode this on that kennel. We go over there, you can scan that, that pulls up who's in there. And then, you know, we can sit there and add notes into that, along with logging and everything. So Shelter Love has been recommended, by a couple folks that I've talked to. I met with Emily, that was here last meeting. She gave me a lot of good ideas. I have a couple other ones that's coming to us, but I don't have the information yet to, try to do a trial with them. So we're trying to see what works good before we make the investment. I'm kind of seeing what it works and reaching out. That's a good idea, Justin, to see what they're using down there. This one does
Done a lot of work, man, already. I think that's good to see.
trying to get it all, you know, just get the ball rolling. on it.
Work.
Yes.
I'll try to, I think we're kind of getting close, here that I've covered a lot of this stuff already. So, software, we just spoke about that. Volunteer work, we spoke about that at last council meeting. The best that I can tell is it has been a liability type issue is why it hasn't been allowed. I've reached out to multiple people, once again, best friends send us a whole bunch of options. I've got Bella Vistas. That's something we can get to legal. We can get that in the process. And once we get that approved, then we can let volunteers come and do work.
Isn't it clearing if we have a waiver or something? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we have a liability waiver, I mean, it's really, I think that's the concern.
I would review.
I think that's good from a technology perspective. You type in a tablet on a website and you walk right in, hey, I've signed in, this is my name, like, let's go.
That's how these systems so far, you can create your own form and e-form, all that stuff. It's digital. If anybody, I mean, we can hit print right from there and hit it to the printer, give them a copy if anybody needs it. It's very easy to transfer to other shelters in the area that use that. And it's just moving that profile over. And if we deal with the same dog again, that profile is still there. So we already have that information. It's easy for tracking. I'm not saying it's the solution, but it may be an option to be the solution. So looking at that, and I do have those volunteer waivers. As soon as I get kind of everything consolidated, then I think I'll be a time to go over to legal, look it over and stuff. I just really want to put a little bit longer perfection on it before I send it off. I really want this to be right. I feel like this is our chance to fix all these concerns, fix all these needs, and let's just do it right rather than rushing. So, you know, I would like to be able to have a policy and all the stuff able to present by the next council meeting. That's my goal for myself, to try to have that. But everybody's policies read a little bit different. It's just trying to combine this to make sure it's going to work good for Centerton and what we do here at Centerton.
Hey, when we got the ARPA funds, we did earmark some initially for animal. Did we ever end up using that?
No, so what we want to do is he's budgeted $75,000 in there to do all this. Plus the 40,000 that we did from ARPA, we feel that together, those funds will do everything he wants to do. And
That's 115,000 total.
yes, and he has, and actually, the fire department's been out there helping and.
The 40 plus the 75, and then you got people here that are very.
Yep.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, so.
I've had a great, I want to give another shout out. There's been multiple people within the city that's offered to come out there and help with small repairs. I think we've got all the small repairs done on the kennels. Gavin has actually been out there helping us do that stuff, the small things. It just takes some man time, some man hours to do. Sarah done what she did with this. And I mean, it's awesome to have people coming in. It's not really been, I'm not taking all the credit because it was the help of a lot more people than just me. So I would like to, there were some other small concerns brought up as far as what we're using for cleaner. Want to reach out to some chemical companies and stuff, see what's going to be best, what's the safest everything for cleaning those surfaces. As far as vaccines, you know, getting with the vet on what schedule on this. All right. And that a lot of that is covered in this policy that I'm looking at. It talks about feeding by weight. You know, if the dog is X weight, this is a typical cup size that you give them. It covers that. It covers cleaning. We've already went to a checklist on cleaning. that we're kind of implementing there to, just checks and balances, making sure, hey, reminder, make sure this stuff gets done. So that's something, just kind of reaching out to see what's gonna be best, because, this is your possibility of making their own chemicals and stuff. I just want to make sure we're doing, some of that stuff's hard on us. It's gotta be hard on the animals. I just want to make sure you're using something safe. So I'm gonna reach out to some companies on options with that, see what other kennels. Rescue is one brand of a cleaning product that has been recommended, but I've talked to other people that's used it and says it can be kind of rough on you. So I don't know if that's gonna be the solution. So I'm gonna keep on digging on that before I come up with a decision. Deceased animal intake form, if we go out there and pick up something that been hit or, something else, we're still gonna have it logged. That way it comes down to the crematory, whenever all that stuff, we're gonna have it logged. You come and ask, hey, what is our, what did we send over there? Here's our item. This is our numbers. This is what it was, whether it be a possum, raccoon, dog, whatever it was, we would be able to track that better. And that's something I think that we can put in that system, create that as a kind of a separate form to where it's logged. I think that's mainly everything. There's a few other things that I have been working on the background. Not necessarily anything that was brought up at our last special council meeting, just things, talking to other people, getting ideas and stuff. I wouldn't really consider them concerns as much as just everybody's been able to give me, their opinion of maybe good, or, we could change this, change that. Have the fire department come out, do a walkthrough for fire code. Got a few things we're gonna address that away, very minor, but a few things that I want good.
A lot of cosmetic stuff, which is
Yeah.
awesome. So great work thinking through some of the things we need cosmetically. I think it'll look better, more welcoming. Do we have all the equipment we need? Like, is the scale up to date? Is it a walk on? Is it good shape? Like, anything else we're missing here?
The scale's good. It's in good shape. It works. It's a walk on, low to the ground. Big enough for any dogs that we're gonna be intaking. That's good. I think that wash bay will be a big thing. I'm looking at probably ordering that, maybe even as soon as tomorrow.
Can I say something? I just want to say, I think in a week, you have done an amazing job. I just want to, because I've been on the board for 2 years, and it sounds like, or the council, sorry. And I haven't heard as much detail, and like, you care about this. You took the concerns, and in a week you went and found everything. That's amazing initiative. And I just want to say thank you. It sounds like there is a lot more things over there that could be updated that we even didn't even know about.
We've done some work.
And that, some of these things probably should have been addressed before now. So I just want to say thank you for doing your hard work in a week. It's amazing. So thank you.
I think that's primarily it on that. I did want to clarify something too. I was a little bit missing so Chief was here for a few days before he went on medical leave to deal with that. So the drugs used for that, the drugs are in a safe, and the keys have been relinquished, and the keys are in evidence. So the safe is not be able to be accessed. The reason they haven't been moved, if I remember right, I'm just going to speak to the best of my knowledge since he's not here, that DEA license for those is to that location. So I think that's how it is. And they kind of come to mind why that would make sense while I've been going through this DEA paperwork. I've got the registration in my name, but you actually have to have a license as well. I found all the paperwork, digging through everything, how to do it. I've sent requests off for everything, but like I was telling citizens earlier, it's not really something I'm really too concerned about till we get this. First and foremost, before I'm really even too concerned about all this, is I've got to get us a good policy. I mean, that's what's going to govern the day-to-day operations to make sure that we're, not outside the lines. The best way to explain it is, it would be like taking our policies away from police officers, hand them a statute book, and just go out there and enforce these statutes. I don't like having just a ordinance-based policy. Bella Vista, from what I've seen, that's kind of how they do it. It's not ordinances, but our ordinances need work. So I want to get us a good department policy. And, you know, we'll get that figured out. It will align everything as far as when euthanasia may occur. That's a touchy subject that we don't even want to happen. But there is instances that it would be the best that we need to be able to do that, but we need to make sure that our checks and balances and our control is top notch. So that's something that, I've been over a lot of things, here, overseen a lot of things. I've already dealt with the DEA for training drugs for canine programs and everything else. I truly believe that I can manage all this stuff, make sure that it is in the right spot. It's not being used when it shouldn't. We've got good checks and balances and all this stuff on there. So I don't want anybody to be concerned about that because I want to make sure that we're not in this predicament again. That's what y'all hired me to do. And now if this is under me, it's my responsibility to make sure that this doesn't happen again.
Fantastic
Thank
work.
you.
Yeah, I think
We should have ended with this, like this.
I think we all realize there's going to be a dog euthanized.
Occasionally.
We just want, like you said, what happened recently not to happen again.
We want it to be last case scenario for the betterment of life. That's really what it boils down to. We're not gonna be putting any dogs in, as in the mayor address said, we've never put down for overcrowding, but as far as I'm concerned, we're never going to. So, these dogs, people love these animals, including myself. I'm an animal lover. I don't want these dogs. We'll find them homes, and if we gotta get out there, there's people willing to help us with adoption events and stuff. We can clear that kennel out. I don't have no doubt. So, and our crew over there is willing to put in the work.
This is what we should have been doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just.
Where have you been all our life?
But I think we can do that. Update on the case. I want to give everybody an update there. So currently our work has been completed and turned over to the prosecutor for review. Also, I just wanted to, I don't really know that it's necessary, but something else I just wanted to kind of run by and tell everybody. So I did a little bit I heard just some comments and stuff about us investigating it being another city entity and stuff. But I've spoken with other departments and actually larger department, larger than us, and asked them, I want to make sure, I didn't see no issues with it when this initially came up, but I wanted to make sure that we're right. I wanted to be able to give an answer that's just not from myself or not from the chief or not from the mayor, that, whether this is right or wrong. The best way to put it is, for instance, if you have not too long ago, there was a county employee that embezzled like $1 million. That was in finance and stuff, there's not a conflict for the sheriff's office to investigate that. There's not a conflict when it's not, a family member doing the investigation. If it's not within that same department, there are instances that it does need to be outreach. This is nothing, the kennel wasn't even under, the shelter wasn't even under the PD control at the time of this. And really, even if it were as it is now, and there was a needed investigation, it would be a case by case if something would need to be called in outside source. But for the most part, as long as the person doing the investigation and the person supervising the department, being the chief or myself, there's not a conflict there to where that branches out and touches. It's really not an issue. If I believe there was a conflict, then I would have done the best to have an outside agency look into this. But I did reach out to the agency that would be looking into this, and they confirmed, the thoughts as far as there's not a conflict in this case on us doing that, and the PA doesn't have no issue with us either. I just wanted to address that because I know it just doesn't sound right, and I understand that. So I think it's important that I've done the legwork to make sure that we are right, because I'm by no means saying that I'm perfect. And I just want to make sure that we're doing what we need to be doing. And I just reached out for an outside, opinion on that to double check. So that's been passed over to the PA's office. As far as timeline on an answer, I wouldn't think very much longer, but the PA's office sometimes fast, sometimes not. So it just depends on severity of the case and all that. There had been some new things that had popped up new information in the case that's kind of prolonged it an extra couple days. So, but it is at the PA's office, our work right now, as far as we know it, is completed. Now, there is a possibility the PA will come back and say, you know, we've looked at everything here. Would you go talk to John Doe here? Or would you go do this for us? Would you go do that for us? Sometimes that happens. Sometimes the PAs will do a little bit of their own investigation. It really just all, they do have 2 investigators. It's full-time in his office. Sometimes they do. In this case, I don't know if that's what's gonna happen, but, you know, it's kind of, the timeline now is just kind of on them, whether they think that the state is gonna move forward with charges or not. So I wanted to give everybody an update on that. I clarified the drug location thing. I didn't want to contradict myself there. I wanted to make sure that I cleared that up, that I was what's going on there. I think that's it. Does anybody have?
That's the best review I think we've ever had. Is it not?
Very good. Thank
If
you.
y'all need anything, you know, feel free to reach out if you have questions. You know, whether it be email, my cell phone, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'll answer basically, I mean, really day or night. So if you need me, just reach out there. Happy to hear anybody's concerns on this, because like I say, it's all about everybody coming together, including the community, meeting, you know, our council, myself, everybody together to make it right. It's gonna take an army to make it perfect, not just me. So, all right, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So that brings us to public comment. Does anybody have any public comment for the council? And before you speak, please state your name and address.
Lisa McCoy, 161 Clydesdale Drive in Centerton. I just want to say that they've done a great job, and I know we're all saying it, but I went in there on Monday and they were gracious enough to show me around. And I'm not nitpicking anything. I'm just saying, if I didn't go through there, I wouldn't have adopted Daisy. She's Gigi, but I wouldn't have adopted Daisy. So I'm just saying, any opportunity that we can allow volunteers to go in there is an opportunity for them to find good homes. So I would strongly suggest we get on that. And then, yeah, I'm trying to be smart. I'm not gonna say anything else. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk to you guys in a while. Jason McCoy, 1261 Clydesdale. You're never gonna hear me say this ever again. I can't believe, yeah, write that down. That we've made some decisions, and I'm fiscally conservative, and I can't believe that we've still made some decisions. Why would we not keep these people at pace with everybody else instead of? Am I tracking with you? Are you tracking what I'm saying? Is we've approved for you guys to get raised for your meetings. Why would we not just match everybody in the area and be done with it?
Why do we always?
We always hear that we're Centerton and not Bentonville.
It doesn't matter, but then what happens, Darren, is it's you guys now, but that's the same reason we ended up with all of our employees 7 years behind the pay raise, and then we ended up having to take a big, huge hit on our budget because we waited so long. I mean,
I'm not an employee. I don't care what I get paid.
I understand that, but you understand where I'm coming from is if we would address these things like our court reporter, he's getting paid $8,000 a year, right? The average is 30. If Todd decides not to do this.
That's part-time. Bentonville is part-time. They're not full-time.
I understand that, but it's still, it just seems weird that you wouldn't, I mean, you might as well keep up with the times.
If Todd was here every day. So like, since I've been to Sherwood's clerk works full-time every day through the week. That's why they get paid a full-time salary.
Why does Bill?
It's not a full-time salary.
I don't understand why we're looking at it then if it's not comparable.
Hey, technically, hold on, but Clark, I get. Council though, like admitting like it's 800, but I think is there 2 meetings?
Yeah,
so it technically we have 1 meeting, so like it is more.
I understand. I'm
saying, yeah.
Weird. It seems weird that you're gonna put yourself in that position.
So I would say for the elected officials, they're concerned about their pay. They're
right.
Community our size, they're here for the right reasons.
Yeah.
I had one more, you could just amend it, I didn't use my 2 minutes. When you try to go through, say you do evaluations, right, Carl, for raises? So all the employees of the city get evaluated?
New process this year.
Okay, so does that mean the mayor gets evaluated? So if you're elected, you don't get evaluated.
He got evaluated.
Who evaluates you then? The people, okay, so, but if you're not, that's fine, if you're doing a bad job, you're doing a bad job, and.
If I'm doing a bad job here in 2 years, someone's gonna run. And that
Okay,
person.
I was just curious, thank you.
Anyone else? All right, public,
I just have a question really. Diana Allen, you were one. I was just wondering, does the county have an ambulance service at all?
No.
Or the county, there is no county ambulance?
they're gonna contract with Pafford.
Okay, I just wondered, I had no idea.
Contract and each, not each, but there's like 5 locations where ambulances are housed, and Centerton was another one, and now Centerton went on our own.
We would go out just on mutual aid if we needed to for an ambulance.
As it stands right now, I'm understanding we wouldn't even go mutual aid.
Oh, wow. And then,
We're being punished.
huh? We're being finished. Yeah, I did.
No pun intended.
All right, what else? Di?
Just one quick question on the dog. Too, is there access from the kennel to the outside?
Yes, there is as far as fire exits. Is that what you're referring?
Yeah, or just some way like doggy door type things, they can go outside or?
They do, there are some, Jeremy, you might be able to. There are outside, like some kennels that have like a trap door on it.
So we have 6 yards right now.
That's okay, I just
Yeah,
want.
two of the yards, we have kennels that line the wall, and there's a guillotine that goes from inside to outside. The other 4, we have to put a leash on them and walk them out.
That's what.
And that's just because the way that there's laid out. Not really a way, and you know. additional guillotine.
Hey, yeah, let's not use that word. So how many, there's 20 what bays? Kennels?
There is 52 kennels total.
How many of those have access outside? I think that's kind of what you're getting at. Access to just run directly out of their kennel outside.
Guesstimating, I would say 12.
They all have like a door, for a 9 stuff. So they all have that, like a slide door. And they're able to pull it, and set the height.
I guess when I had my dog before in the kennel, they had a big yard, but also each kennel had
A chute.
a chute, yeah.
Yeah, and so with that, so the 52 kennels are just the inside kennels. There are the same amount of kennels that line the walls that have access to the outside. Generally, we just use the door to.
But at that time, do they go play with other dogs?
Yeah.
I think what she's saying is there a way that a dog runs outside and has a single chute, so it's not killing or biting another dog, it has the ability to go outside?
I mean, I think there would be possibly less anxiety and then just more, I just think that was one of the questions I had last week. Is how often are they being walked or socialized or outside,
And that's
or being
something,
able to get out of their kennel?
and that's something that we're hoping to improve and expecting to improve once we start getting things into place, like with the volunteers and things like that. That way we have more people. We currently have 3 people.
Well, that was my other concern. I also have to say, I wasn't here for the whole 3 hours last week or whenever that was, 8 days ago. But every single thing I heard while I was here was addressed tonight. I mean, maybe with that exception, but I was very impressed with all that. My last thing was my concern about the number of hours people are there with the animals, how many hours a day is by themselves, and one of my big concerns, especially if it's hot, I don't know what the feeding watering procedure is. Do they all have a bowl or whatever? I was concerned about water bowls being knocked over, being hot, not having water. So just something to think about. I don't know what your procedure is. That's all I had.
I personally, I've been trying to think of a better solution. On the new part of the building, all the kennels have automatic waters. You can't really rely on them to know how to use that.
Right.
So we put fresh water in each kennel in a bucket and we'll attach it to the chain link so they can't knock it over. I've been looking at different things to like
Fresh, clean water that.
to improve on that. That way it's a continuing, I know they make bowls that you can attach to the wall and it's a direct supply. So.
You're working on it though. That's what.
This was amazing, I think.
Yes.
Thank you, Diane. Anyone else?
My name is Donna Wanstower. I live at 2149 South Emma Avenue in Fayetteville. I am an employee of the city. However, I am speaking for myself. I am not representing the planning department or the city. I have a letter I would like to read. City member Amy Rochette stated at the special council meeting on December 5th that respect must go both ways. Based on my experiences with the city council, this is not generally true of either the audience at large or the council itself. When speaking as a staff member, I've been constantly interrupted by council members during presentations, despite asking for questions to be held until the end. I've been called rude on social media by sitting council members for asking to be allowed to finish a presentation, and been accused of being part of a global conspiracy. On my LinkedIn post approximately a week ago announcing that I had accepted a position in the city of Fayetteville, Councilmember Justin Conger replied, "This is fantastic news," with 4 exclamation points. Glad to see this update as we transition in Centerton to looking at viable options that fit our community. Your vision will be perfect for Fayetteville and the success within. The council has made statements that they are not aware of what is happening in the day-to-day activities of the city. However, when Nicola, the mayor's assistant, spoke at the animal shelter special council meeting, many of the council members didn't recognize her. Despite her working for here nearly a year, and allowed audience members to shout over her when she was speaking at the podium. Further, despite the planning department's doors being open to everyone and multiple offers being made to visit the department in the past, members of the council have asked for explanations on what the planning department's processes are and how projects are approved during an upcoming work session. When planning director Lorraine Burns sent out a department report in an email on June 10th, Councilmember Amy Rochette asked how often the report was sent out. Bill responded that it was included in the council report every month. Amy Rochette had been a council member for over a year at this point, and the reports were not new. Amy's attendance at the department head meeting earlier today was the first time I've seen her in our department in my nearly 3-year tenure. If the council wants to know what's going on, I request that they talk to staff rather than posting about ordinances or potential code revisions on social media. I cannot find that council has signed a code of ethics or a code of conduct. This needs to be done. Municipal, for example. In addition, the council should adopt Robert's Rules of Order to prevent the constant interruption, shouting, and instability that were so prominent in the special council meeting last week. This type of behavior is unbecoming of the city and the elected officials chosen by the people to represent everyone. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's say with public comment.
A little bit of civil discourse. Nothing wrong with that.
All right, so Amy, I did tell you, I'd give you a little bit of brief update on AMP. It'll be brief. Huh?
My son are having a good meeting.
All right. Hang on, I want to share a different screen here real quick. Hold on.
Sorry, can I ask a follow-up question? to that?
No.
Is it common for council members to sit in on department head meetings on a regular basis?
They're welcome to come here anytime they want, yes.
It's not common, no.
Common, thanks.
She doesn't work for the city. I don't, she's leaving, so just move on.
I wanted to see
what the meeting was about, so I sat in today.
Yeah, she did sit in.
It seems like now is the appropriate time to step into those things that aren't. So.
And just to be clear, I have actually met with the mayor and with the planning director, Lorraine, and discussed some things that were said on social media. So I have talked to both of them.
I'm just saying, I support your decision to now go to department head meetings, because now is the time where
It's not common, yes.
Thank you.
And the reason it's not common is because we're not involved with day-to-day operations. It helps us stay informed.
I hope it was a good experience and
Let's be informed on a regular basis from the mayor, correct?
That's correct.
And I was called a conspiracy theorist as well also at one point, so.
There are pictures of dogs on social media. That's bad.
you do, I see.
Yeah, Bill will like her.
Yeah.
Fit right in.
All right, so the A and P meeting, a couple things, I'm not gonna get every word of it, but one thing I did talk to them about is, updating our website. And I'm actually in the process of doing this right now, and this is the same company we use for our website. This is Minnesota. But one thing we're gonna add, I had a business owner ask us to add the businesses, we did, but it's not in any kind of rhyme, ream, or order. So we're gonna add this to it. It'll, talk about churches, different kind of businesses we have here. But like I'll use attorneys, for instance. This will pull up, I hope. Oh, we went down.
That's not ours.
Okay, anyway. Sorry about this, but it'll pull up the address. It'll say like Joe's Attorney Service, have their address, phone number, and if they have a website, it'll turn blue and they can click onto it. It'll go right to that website. So this is gonna be good. I'm about halfway through getting all these businesses and looking up all these websites. So, here, let's try it again.
Those churches.
Oh, here, okay, the churches one came out. So like this one, you can go to Grace Lutheran Church. If you want to visit the website, you just click here and, acting great. Anyway, firewall or something over here.
Probably just a delay.
Yeah, so anyway, this is something we're working on. I hope to have this up by the next council meeting too. I'm, like I said, I'm about halfway through. Couple other things, we did decide to meet quarterly. We're gonna meet the first Wednesday of every month. The next meeting will be in March. And I have the date. I'm gonna actually put them all on the website. I did also do a Zoom with the meeting. That's actually on YouTube right now. I've got the whole meeting on there. I tried to experiment with it to start putting these meetings on YouTube, so we'll see how that works out. I hope this one works out good. And we just discussed the credit card payments, so that's basically, a lot of things. It was a very good meeting and very productive. And so that's all I have. So does anybody else have anything else? No, A and P Commission.
Okay.
No, City Council meets monthly. And I want to address Jason's question, about the pay. If this council goes to 2 meetings a month, then they'll go to 8,000, it'll be 400, it's 400 per scheduled meeting.
Perfect. And with the way it was presented.
And they decide they want to go to 2 meetings.
Why you guys would be underpaid just because we're in center.
So any other business? With that, we do have our next work session will be January 24th. It is going to be a joint work session that one of our council members request with the Planning Commission.
Planning department.
And the Planning Department will be there. And then also I'm bringing Tim Conklin from Northwest Regional Planning. He's going to come join us also.
Where are we meeting at
We'll
here?
meet right here. Yeah, we'll meet right here and I'll remind everybody. I just want to tell you that this is coming up.
And I had requested, and I know you said you're gonna be working on that. I'd like to see the comprehensive overlay where we are right now.
Yeah, that's Lorraine. You'll take care of that or work on it. I'll have to. They have the maps.
Yeah, it's really hard to use and overlay it. You're talking to overlay the zone on the line.
Well, so what I had asked the mayor is are we tracking from when we started the comprehensive plan to where we are now?
On both land use and
Well, where we are, where we started and where we are now, are we tracking where we're growing as a city compared to where we started.
Or where the changes were made.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? What she's saying is, okay,
I want to see what kind of tracking that we have.
what was the comprehensive plan? What was it zoned for? What was the land use then? What is it now? Not overlaid, before and after. Do we track, like, how do we track, how are we sticking to our comprehensive plan from a graphical view? Something that's available maybe, or I mean, can we?
So I'd ask the mayor, how
Yeah,
are we
that's what
tracking
we
that?
want. That's what we wanted.
We can talk about it offline, that's fine.
I mean, does it make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense, right? Like how we're tracking, where we're growing.
I mean, we're really just saying, what was the comprehensive plan and what did we sign up for? And where are we today with?
Does that make sense?
Yes, kind of like when we get, it shows for rezoning, you know, like this tiny piece of property.
Land use and zoning, right?
Right.
Right.
We have the maps that show that where you could go through whole area and parcel. And you're wanting to do it by parcel and.
No, just
The whole city.
yeah, just the whole city. Like 2 years ago, we started with this comprehensive plan. Today, we look like this.
We have the land use plan and then zoning maps on the website in PDF. Where you can compare those.
Because the mayor said it was updated as we go.
The zoning is,
Zoning map.
the zoning is on the GIS.
That's updated.
Yeah, as we, and it's also reflected in these maps I gave you on each
Yeah,
ordinance.
but that's just a portion of it.
But that's just-
Looking at where we're at.
Just that section that we're.
It's a zoning, but yeah.
We want to see how close we're sticking to it, I think is the.
Yeah.
Not just each individual case by case.
Okay.
That makes
Example,
sense.
we sold all of 102 basically.
Does that make
What else
sense?
is left?
How many more is left?
A couple multifamilies and maybe.
All right. All right, sounds good. So we have to make my motion to adjourn. We got a motion, we got a second,
That's
all in favor?
Aye.